What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. We're probably in day 3 or 4 of the Trump trial proceeding in New York City. This is the Alvin Bragg hush money case. This is Thursday, so this would be day 4. Still trying to fill up the jury. More and more members have been selected. By the way, they're moving faster than they originally thought, getting jurors for the Trump trial. So they thought it might take a couple months to get. I think they need 12. They need 12 jurors and I think 6 alternates. Then I think there's also some backups. It might be the alternates. It's been a while since I have had jury duty, but I know they need 12 jurors and they need 6 alternates. I think there may be some more they have to get. Nevertheless, they are moving ahead of schedule. So this case could begin sooner than they originally thought. They thought it might take as much as 2 months to pick out all of the needed jurors, but it's moving on. But we want to start the program off by asking that simple question. In regards to New York City, is it possible or is it impossible for Trump to get a fair trial in regards to this hush money case, Alvin Bragg case? Is it to the point where there is no way possible for Trump to get a fair trial? That's going to be our first topic. We're going to be asking, in regards to that same case, Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels both have been caught in lies. They both have been caught in lies. Michael Cohen actually did time for perjury, but Stormy Daniels signed a letter suggesting that she never had sex with Trump. So she's been caught in a lie as well. But make no mistake about it, so has President Trump. Everything Trump has said has not been honest either. Just a hell of a lot of people have forgiven Trump. But what we're going to be asking is, does Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels, considering they've both been caught in lies, do they have credibility? And last but not least, wow, should President Trump's antics be ignored by the judge? In regards to whether Trump can get a fair trial or not, he has stated that this judge that is overseeing the case is the most corrupt judge in New York and that the guy has Trump derangement syndrome. I don't know where the hell that's coming from, but should the judge ignore all of these attacks that Trump is launching before the case began? So that's going to be our first topic, that New York trial. By the way, I don't know if any of you were watching last night or anybody have their notifications set when I actually joined the live stream, but I did actually get a chance to talk with Michael Cohen himself for about a half hour. So some of you may have seen that. I see in the comments, Team Cawthorn says I was there. Yeah, I talked to him for a good 20 minutes to a half hour, and I asked him what I thought people wanted to know. It was a Michael Cohen's live. He run a live regularly. So most of the folks, and I see many folks are saying they saw some of it in the comments. And I see Tongue Wrestler says I was there too. I'm glad to see some of you folks saw it, but it's his live. So his live is going to mostly be filled with an audience that is pro-Cohen. He gets on, he states what he has to say about Trump and how we need to move on from President Trump. And for the most part, a large portion of his audience agrees because they're pro-Michael Cohen. I don't have an issue with the guy, but I did go in there and I asked him questions that would come from somebody who is not pro-Michael Cohen. I tried to challenge him every way I could. He's a tough guy. He certainly answered the questions, but I don't think he was a big fan of me coming in there and doing that. But hey, you invite me up, you guys know how I am, whether I'm talking to Maga or a far left liberal. If I hear you say something and I have a question or something, I'm going to ask. That's how the program is ran. I don't believe in censorship. I believe 100% in free speech. I've run my program that way from day one. But understand, while you are able to say whatever the hell you want here, you will be challenged on it. And I did challenge Cohen, certainly in regards to his credibility, him helping Trump hide a mistress from Melania while also hiding the payment from his own wife. I asked him about that. And in regards to our second topic, we're going to be asking simple question. Would America be better off if Ukraine fell to Russia? It's a lot of folks rooting for Russia, so that's our second side topic. You know how the program is ran. It is and always will be MAGA friendly, has been that way since day one. I wanted to thank you for that renewal there, Tammy Green, on the subscription. I always appreciate those subscribers. I see you in the comments. Absolutely. Thank you for certain. Program is always will remain MAGA friendly. You know, we don't block, ban, or censor anyone. If you disagree with someone in the comments or even a host, nobody gives a damn. That's how the program always has been run. So understand, free speech is how we do it here. We go left of Bernie Sanders, so I'm having dinner with QAnon. Everyone gets to speak. So look at in the comments. Cohen, Cohen says Cohen, the H is silent. Okay, so Michael Cohen. All right, fair enough. Michael Cohen, my pronunciation has been corrected. I was disappointed with you being pro-MAGA last night. Me questioning Michael Cohen on his stance does not make me MAGA. I believe the jurors who are dealing with this case have a right to question Michael Cohen's credibility, just like they're going to question President Trump's. I think you got to be fair all around. I mean, the guy served time for perjury. Why do you just accept everything he says out of hatred for President Trump? I don't subscribe to the notion that people have Trump derangement syndrome, but that's about the way I would describe it. If you want the court automatically going after Trump to the point where no one else should be questioned because you already have Trump convicted. To me, that would be as close to derangement syndrome as they come. But no, I believe in challenging everyone. I give everyone a chance to speak, but damn it, you have to have the ability to take the tough questions. And I asked Cohen those questions. So looking in the comments, what do you think about his answers to your questions? I think Michael Cohen stood his ground. I think he certainly stood his ground, as he stated while I was questioning him, because the other guy apologized for bringing me on with me asking all these questions. He stated, you know, he's no tougher than Congress. I sat in front of Congress. So I applaud Cohen for answering those questions because I asked him, you know, I didn't handle it as, like I said, I handled him as a hostile interview. And yeah, very respectful, enjoyed talking to him. He gave me about a half hour of his time. I can't complain on that. So let me move on to the box. How can you support Trump who can't how can you support Trump who can't recite a Bible verse, says Stephen Haster? Well, you know, the counter argument is going to be, how can you support Biden who can't walk up a flight of steps? I just want to be fair about it. Biden, with a stuttering problem, routinely has difficulties pronouncing words. Just want to point that out. So looking in the box, appreciate you folks that are already here tapping the screen. Nearly 600 of you in here. So certainly get the likes on up to around 15,000. We'll go straight to In Limbo. Good afternoon, In Limbo. So can President Trump get a fair trial in New York? Limbo, good afternoon.
What's going on, handsome? Long-time listeners, my first time talking.
It's an honor. Good to talk to you.
So, yeah, why wouldn't he be able to get a fair trial? I mean, it's a trial like any other trial. You know, who cares if he's the president of the United States or ex-president?
What about the notion that he has family members, like Trump is bringing up his daughter is an operative of some progressive group, and they've made it clear they want Trump locked up? Does that make you judge the actual judge any different if his own child is part of one of these groups?
No, it doesn't matter what your kid does. I mean, your kid's going to do stuff that doesn't. I mean, if your kid is trans, does that mean that you're trans too?
I hope not. I would hope not.
So, I mean, I don't think that matters. I mean, in the end, Trump is guilty. I mean, all the evidence will be put out, and everybody will know that, you know, It is what it is.
Wait, but you said in the end Trump is guilty. Have you already written him off?
Well, he will be. I believe he'll be found guilty. I mean, he's already been found liable by grand jury. So
yeah. So in regards to this paying off a porn star with hush money, is this really serious enough to go at the former president? We're talking $150,000. According to Michael Cohen, what he told me yesterday is that he has a revolving line of credit on his home, and he used $150,000 from his revolving credit to pay off Stormy Daniels. So is that something serious enough to go at a former president for?
Well, at the end of the day, they knew what they were doing was wrong. I mean, obviously they tried to hide it. So, I mean, it's all about intent, right? I mean, it was their intention to fraud the system.
So how do you respond to folks like, I think it says Quasimodo on YouTube, folks stating, well, who cares about this? This is so minor. Who cares? How do you respond to folks who might suggest that?
Well, I mean, they said who cares with the other fraud case too. So it's all of the who cares when it comes to Trump. They're going to say, who cares if he incited a riot on January 6th? Who cares if he, doesn't want to leave power? These Maga, they'll do anything he says. They don't care. It doesn't matter. They'll change their values and their principles based on what Trump says.
Okay, so you're basically suggesting they have no accountability for Trump regardless.
Yeah, they don't care. They want a dictator. Anytime you hear the term that we want to run this country like a business, they're talking about a dictator. They want somebody who can say what they want, and that's going to happen without anybody getting in the way. So that's what it is.
You really think MAGA, conservatives who often talk about the Constitution and the Founding Fathers, you think they want a dictator to lead us?
Absolutely, they do. I mean, you got to think most MAGA don't really know much about politics. They were never political until Donald Trump. So they don't really know how our government even works.
Yeah, but a dictator, I mean, that's pretty strong stuff. I mean, that means he's never going to leave until he dies, and he likely will appoint the next his processor or predecessor. He's going to
he'll probably appoint his son to take over after he's done.
Wow. I hope you're wrong. You're not the only one to say that.
They'd be all for it, Tim. They'd be all for it because it's their guy. They wouldn't be for it if it was Biden. Yeah. Obviously, they wouldn't be for that. But if it's their guy, they're all for it. They're all for throwing away the Constitution for their guy.
Yeah. Well, I will say this. I can understand people on the right that favor Trump over Biden. I mean, he certainly follows their principles. But what has Trump done for America that has been so great you'd want him to be there as a dictator? Was his accomplishments that great?
He, in my opinion, I believe he allows the racists to be racist again. He normalized it. I mean, saying the N-word was not a thing 20 years ago, 15 years ago. It was clearly frowned upon, but now it's coming back. It's coming back.
Shit, that ain't the thing I want to bring back. But what you're saying, though, is that when it comes to President Trump, their biggest concern or biggest desire is just to be able to be openly racist and hateful?
Yeah, that's it. To feel like they have superiority over everyone else.
Damn.
That means more to them than that's why they're even voting against their own interests. So that they can feel like they're better than somebody else.
Based on what you're saying, I mean, I have to ask the obvious question. And by the way, Evan, thank you for that subscription. That did not go unnoticed. Appreciate that. Evan, thank you very much. I have to ask Limbo then, could we survive? If you're suggesting that the whole purpose of reelecting Trump is to allow open hatred, could we survive a second Trump's presidency?
It would be a completely different country. It would be the South has risen again.
But in regards, real quick before I let you go, someone on YouTube, I seen the comment. Neil asks, "What is your example?" Or better yet, he says, "What is his example?" Wait, what is your example of open racism? He says, "I've only seen one, except for mainstream media narrative." What is your what when you say open racism?
So remember when Trump was running in 2016 or 2015, he said the Mexicans aren't sending their best; they're sending their their rapists
and murderers. Yeah,
it wasn't really what he said, but it was the way the crowd cheered like he just scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl. It was one of those. Thank God somebody said what we all want to say.
Wow. That's scary. That is scary. Limbo, I do got to move it on. You painting a picture. You're painting a picture of the country being in limbo, but I do appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Moving the program on. Wow, that's scary. That is frightening. But Evan, yeah, thank you for that subscription. Looking in the comments, I thought OJ died. Okay, what? I look like OJ Simpson now? No one's above the law. That sounds good. But that's not reality. Speaking of OJ, but there are plenty of people in this country that operate on the fringes, if not above the law. I mean, if you get, let's just say someone of a highly respected member of society, or let's say law enforcement, if you go to court and they've mistreated you and it becomes a he said, she said, you're going to lose every time. I mean, there are certain people who receive a hierarchy. It is what it is. So I want to agree with you that no one's above the law, but I think we've seen it time and time again. Gomez, thank you for the confetti. Shout out. Remember when they said when Trump got elected, we'll enter all these wars? That didn't age well. Gomez, 100% true. But fact is, anyone that becomes president, people are going to make promises that are ridiculous. Remember, Biden said if Mitt Romney in 2012 was elected, he would put us back in chains. Does anyone look at vanilla Mitt Romney nowadays and think that was his intention? No. Newt Gingrich and a host of Republicans suggested that if Obama got elected in 2008, he was going to turn the country into socialist Greece. Venezuela was doing all right back then. That's when Hugo Chavez was still alive. So Greece was the failed economy. They were saying every liberal wanted to turn America into Greece. If Obama got elected, he would turn America into socialist Greece. Fuel would be $5 a gallon, bread $5 a loaf, and he was going to take away everybody's guns. So when you suggest comments did not age well, please chalk that one up, because we had 8 years of Obama and nobody paid $5 for a loaf of bread. Looking in the comments, that's where we're headed, says Danny. Every president is Armageddon to their opposition. It's just the way it is. Every president is viewed that way. Looking in the box, appreciate you folks that are already tapping the screen. We'll go straight to Frank B. Good afternoon, Frank B. Asking that, can Trump get a fair trial in New York, or is that outright impossible? Frank, what say you?
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Okay.
Is it possible Trump could get a fair trial in New York?
I don't think so.
Why not?
Not with the judge.
What about the judge?
He's against everything. He's got something out for him, man. He doesn't like him. His feelings are getting too involved with everything.
Where is the evidence of any of this? What are you basing this on?
Off of everything.
Give me some examples.
I'm seeing.
Give me something you've seen. Elaborate. Yeah, DJ Julio, thanks for the add mustache. What have you seen to suggest this judge, his feelings are anti-Trump, and he will not give this man a fair trial? What have you seen specifically? Okay, my last caller dropped out. Nevertheless, we will move the program on. He's trying to make up shit on the fly, says Big Nasty. Listen, folks, what do I say on every single broadcast? It's all about free speech here, folks. You're never going to be blocked, banned, or censored by yours truly. We do believe in free speech. However, you will be challenged. You can say whatever the hell you want, but understand it will be challenged. It's not about emotions. It's about actual facts. So it is what it is. thank you for tapping the screen. Get me on up to 25,000. We'll continue moving on, though. He ran, says that I don't know if he ran or if his signal dropped, but I know he is gone. In the comments, say General Lee regrets fighting for the South only to have them fall in love with a common. General Lee regrets fighting for the South only to have them fall in love with a con man from Queens. Yikes. Yikes. The refineries that are positioned in the Gulf of Mexico and Houston are strategically positioned. There is no location on earth that can refine oil at the cost they can in Houston. Okay, I'm assuming that's a inner chat. Going back to the box, though. Handsome Harry. I like it. I like it. Another handsome individual. Let's see if we can bring up Handsome Harry. We might be having trouble out of the box. We'll give it a chance. Maybe that did not work out so well, so we will continue on to one of our subscribers. Always welcome on the program, Pat Carlson. If the box doesn't work this time, we may have a problem. Okay, there we go. Pat, good afternoon.
Good afternoon there, Handsome. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Good to have you back on. Can Trump get a fair trial in New York, or is it a wrap?
Well, I mean, theoretically, yes, but here's my problem is it's going to take just one person that's a total loyal Trump supporter that gets put on that jury that regardless of facts could say, no, he's not guilty and hang the jury.
You know, you raised an interesting point. Months ago, while I was having a live stream, I had a guest come on and said something similar. He stated to the audience Trump would never be found guilty. And his statement was, there will always be at least one MAGA on every jury. So you're saying there may be some facts to that.
That is correct. No matter what, you're always going to have a MAGA. You're going to have somebody from the right and somebody from the left on any jury. But the question is, can that MAGA actually look at the facts that are presented and rule according to the facts as presented? Or are they going to just blindly follow Trump?
Yeah. Do you believe a typical individual identifying as MAGA is capable of making a fair decision? I mean, you don't think, or do you think they're all just going to find Trump not guilty no matter what?
I think that there are MAGA that can actually look at the facts for what they are. There are people who, blindly, follow Trump. I get into I do lives myself. Most of mine are not political, but I do get political at times. Mm-hmm. And I've had people, MAGAs on there that, I try pointing everything I can out to them, and they're just, no. It's all about Trump. Somebody like that would definitely, I tried telling them, hey, look about Sharpie Gate. And they're like, what about Sharpie Gate? And I explained that to them, and they're like, oh, well, so what, Yeah. My problem with Trump getting back into the office is, okay, he already claims that he's responsible for Roe Wade, right?
Yeah, he is.
Okay. They're also trying to take away, from what I understand, women's voting rights.
Where have you heard that? Wait, where have you heard that at?
I've heard that. I think it was even brought up on your program one time that they're trying to take away. It could be another political channel that I was watching that they were trying to they're saying that they're trying to take away women's voting rights. And
listen, just like there's people who are, going to support Trump no matter what, there are folks that are going to make up things about Trump no matter what. I'd have to see some real evidence to try to take away women's voting rights. Right. I haven't heard that.
If they go as far as, let's put it this way. They already overturned Roe Wade, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to do away with contraceptives. So you're sitting there saying, okay, a woman can't have an abortion, but yet she can't use contraceptives either. Where's the logic behind that?
Well, the logic behind it is they're going from a Christian standpoint, and they're suggesting that if God designed you to have children and impregnated you, gave you a baby, then you got to have the baby. It's Christian based. It is Christian based all the way around. I understand Christianity should be out of politics, but when you start talking to folks who are pro-life, a lot of them start reading off portions of the Bible or talking about their religion.
Well, I myself, I'm pro-life, but yet I still stand behind Roe versus Wade because I'm old enough that I remember when women used to use clothes hangers to abort kids, go into dark rooms with people with dirty scalpels and tables. I remember these times.
You do know we've had a few politicians. We discussed one of the lives earlier this year, I think in North Carolina, where they're suggesting that women that have an abortion like that, when it's outlawed, should qualify for capital punishment. So, I mean, I suppose that one way to stop women from doing that is to start threatening them with a host of, a bunch of years in prison.
Well, and then these diehard MAGA supporters. Another thing I brought up on when I was talking political is how they believe everything that comes out of Trump's mouth. He was doing an interview or talking before his people and was sitting there saying that women are having abortions 8-9 months into the thing, and even after they're born. I mean, it's like, my God, and people are actually believing this.
Well, I will tell you, Trump is not the only one saying that. When Ron DeSantis was on the campaign stump, he said that liberals were supporting post-birth abortions. The governor, really pretty girl, the governor of South Dakota, she has also said it. That I saw her on Fox News say the same thing. Yeah, I have yet to hear of anyone that has actually had an abortion after the 9th month. I don't know why that even keeps coming up.
I know. Well, my personal opinion on Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's a buffoon. She spews some of the most ridiculous crap there is. But she did an interview where, for the first time in her political career, I had to agree with her 100%.
I need to know what this is about.
She got up there, and I couldn't believe I heard this come out of a politician's mouth, but she actually said that what the American people need to do is vote out all of the politicians, not just part of them, but all of them, and get people who are actually going to represent we, the people. And I almost fell to the ground when I heard her say that.
Wow. Well, there's a lot of folks who want term limits and want to get rid of all of the politicians and things like that. But at the end of the day, the president needs those folks to help implement his own legislation. So you're never going to get term limits and stuff like that, because even the president is not going to get rid of his own Congress or his own Senate. At most, that's a pipe dream.
Right, and I agree with you. They're not going to, but they do need something there. Yeah. I mean, it's like they say that there was no wars under Trump.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there was a good reason why there wasn't. And the reason is every time somebody even looked like they were going to do war, Trump threatened to drop the bomb on them.
But that's what but a lot of folks would suggest that's what America needs is a leader like Trump that folks respect, or better yet fear, and they won't get out of hand.
Well, you see, the problem with that is when you're so unhinged that they don't know whether you're going to or not. The fact that he even says it, to me, that makes him a terrorist.
Wow.
Because he's terrorizing people with the thought of dropping the bomb. And you got to admit, once that first bomb gets sent, it's world destruction.
Yeah, but you don't think Trump is capable of initiating a nuclear strike, do you?
Oh yes, I do. I honestly do.
So
look at he's got in front of people and told them he could go down in
Fifth Avenue,
New York,
yeah.
and shoot somebody in front of people and get away with it. If he thinks he can do that and get away with it, what is to stop him from thinking that he can get away with dropping a nuclear bomb on somebody?
Man, Pat, that's frightening. I gotta move it on, but you're scaring the hell out of me, man.
Just the idea of him even saying he would. That is a terroristic act. If you were to go and say that you were going to take a bomb into the Capitol or something, are you telling me they wouldn't arrest you for a terroristic action?
Yeah, they would. All right. Wow, that's frightening, man. I got to move it on, though, Pat. You're scaring the hell out of me, but appreciate you coming in. Damn. Good talk,
You
Pat.
bet.
Anytime.
Bye.
You too. All right, looking in the comments, he has done it with gag orders. I don't quite get what you mean there. So it's okay for other countries to terrorize Americans. September 11th, you think that was okay? Well, no. I know you're responding to my last caller, but no, I don't think it's okay for others to terrorize Americans. And I think Kim Jong-un has been known for threatening to do things like that. However, this is something I've said personally about President Trump in regards to why I don't think he got reelected. I don't think you need to answer every fight you're invited to. Certainly when it's just a matter of, what is it, locker room talk or talking shit. If someone is talking crap, you don't need to respond to that. Everybody knows America is a military superpower. Every country on earth knows that if we want to kick some ass, we're capable of doing that. You don't need to get in this, dick measuring contest. You don't need to do that with the likes of Kim Jong-un or somebody like that. I just don't believe it's necessary. I mean, other than just to promote egos and scare a lot of the citizens of the countries, I just don't think it's necessary. Looking in the comments, though, if you don't, what does that say? If you don't, and I am not being ignorant, get a job, my guy. Stop doing what you're doing. It's 2:30 on a Thursday, and you're sitting in your car talking about things that you are completely out of control. Appreciate the comment, Austin. And I wouldn't be sitting here if folks like you weren't in the comment section typing to me while I'm in my car. Appreciate you. Feel free to come on through anytime. Looking in the comments, vote for me, President. Thank you for the confetti, Gomez. Appreciate that. Trump did nothing for us, says Denise. That's not accurate. Trump did nothing for folks who lean left. Folks who lean right can cite off a host of things that Trump did, starting with the rolling back of Roe v. Wade. Trump certainly did things for people on the right. If you're saying Trump did nothing for us, then you probably lean left. Going to the box, keeping the program moving. I don't know what just happened. Once again, when I go to the box, weird things happen, but Jordan Bourne, can Trump get a fair trial in New York? By the way, we're asking a side question, and thank you folks for tapping the screen. Almost 800 of you in here. Get your boy up to 40,000 on TikTok. My YouTubers, feel free to smash that like button. Jordan Bourne, one of the questions we're also asking is, would America be better off if the Ukrainians simply fell to the Russians? Because a hell of a lot of people don't want to support the Ukrainians. What say you, Jordan Bourne?
Well, I think that's that is a foreign policy issue, and looking at where we were before when Trump was in office, there were no wars happening, and the wars that were happening were created by other presidents. They were created by other leaders. Mm-hmm. Right now, everybody was saying, Trump is going to lead us to World War III. Well, look where we're at now. You got Israel and Hamas and Palestine going at it, and then Iran coming in. More bombs, more rockets are being launched today than ever were under Trump.
So let me ask you though.
Today under this, hold on, 1 second. I'll let you ask. We are closer right now today under Biden to a World War III than we ever were under Trump. And there's a reason behind that, but go ahead and ask your question.
And that was a question I was going to ask you. Do you believe Biden is responsible for what Iran did this weekend and the Israel-Palestinian conflict? Do you blame Biden for that taking off when it didn't happen under Trump?
Biden projects weakness on the world stage for the United States. If you look at where he's at, you look at he's incoherent a lot of times. All of his meetings with foreign dignitaries. He doesn't know when he gets up on the stage what direction to go. I mean, there's stuff about that, right? Trump projected fear among a lot of other countries. They didn't want to go ahead and, start bombing and doing things in the world stage because he may have been unpredictable. Your last caller said he thinks that Trump may launch a nuke or he might start something. People don't want to take that chance because his personality, and keep in mind, I'm a lifelong Republican. I support the Republican nominee, whoever it is. So if it's Trump, it's Trump, right? I hate the man as a person and just his personality. I never want to actually have a beer with him, but he projects fear. If I was a world leader, I wouldn't want to do anything because Trump could say, you know what? You've attacked our allies. You've attacked our closest allies. We're going to annihilate you off the face of the earth.
Now, here's a response to that. When you suggest that Trump projects strength as opposed to Biden, maybe projecting weakness or not being taken seriously, Biden is responsible for a hell of a lot of dead Russian soldiers and loss of assets in that country. Do you think Vladimir Putin sees Biden as weak? I mean, he's going on to, what is this, year 2 of fighting the Ukrainians? Do you think that Vladimir Putin expected under a weak President Biden that they would still be fighting the Ukrainians 2 years later?
Well, he wants Biden to win, if that gives you any indication.
Who wants Biden
He's
to
literally
win?
said multiple. Putin does. He wants Biden to win.
Based on what?
He wants Biden to win because he knows that if Biden wins, he can continue to doing what he's doing. If Trump, Trump and Biden or Trump and Putin, people say that, oh, they're buddy-buddy, right? They weren't buddy-buddy. They respected each other. And it's not wrong to respect your enemies to keep them at bay. It's just not.
Gomez, thank you. Let me interrupt you because I've heard this before. In fact, I think Russia released a statement suggesting that they prefer Biden as well. In my opinion, that is flat out ridiculous. And I'll tell you why. Trump and Putin have been on a friendly relationship long before Trump became president. Trump is not a fan of the Ukraine. Certainly it's talked about getting us out of NATO. All of these things benefit Russia. Why the hell would Russia want Biden in office when he is the opposite of everything they're trying to do? That doesn't make any sense.
Because they know that he's going to continue where it's at. Russia is winning the war, whether anyone wants to admit it or not. All the things that we've given to Ukraine to help defend themselves, it has pushed them back a bit. But this thing, is if Ukraine hasn't won by now, it's not looking good, and it sucks. It's just
but Trump is anti-Ukraine. He believes Ukraine is just as crooked as Putin does. Why would you want Biden, who's over there walking down the? Biden is over there walking down. Hold on, Biden is walking down the streets of the Ukraine with Zelenskyy, promising to give them as many weapons as he can get authorization from Congress. Why would you want that guy in office again?
Trump hasn't been there because it's a terrible place to be, and he's not the president right now. But if he was, I'm sure that he would try and work out a deal between the two of them. Trump was impeached because of a phone call to the Ukrainian president because, he's trying to find a favor. So he had a good relationship with Ukraine as well. He had a relationship with Russia. He bridged those two together. Sure. And at the time, may not have bridged the two together to keep peace, but I'm telling you that the world was a safer place under Trump than right now it is under Biden. One more thing, I want to switch gears because we talked about the judge and the fair trial, right?
I did. So, before you do switch gears, though, I totally disagree that Trump was, disfavorable. He was anti-Ukraine. But go ahead to your second gear.
Okay. So the judge's daughter in this case was she worked on Kamala's campaign and donated. She was the marketing director, and he has even said on multiple occasions that he despises Trump, this judge. And so how can you have a fair trial with a judge that hates you, despises you? His daughter works on your political rival's vice president's campaign. And then out of the 96 jurors that they bring in every single day, they find maybe one or two that don't have some kind of a bias. How is that possible? It's the place that they're at. It would be like having Joe Biden go to deep South Louisiana and sit in a courtroom and try and find somebody who is, partial. or impartial to him. It's not. It doesn't
Is
work.
it possible?
Judge,
wait a minute though. Is it possible? Is it possible that you could be a fair and impartial? Like for instance, you lean right. You're going to tell me you could not judge a Democrat fairly at all?
Oh, I could, and that's the thing, you know. So it's the jurors are one thing, right? They do give hopefully honest answers when they're going through their questionnaires.
Yeah.
On which is hard to do, right? Like you know, like if it was Biden on trial, I have strong opinions of him. I might want to see him behind bars for whatever reason. It's something you'd want to see. So that's a little bit tricky. But the fact that the judge did not recuse himself, I think that's the biggest thing. If it was some other judge that could have come in here that didn't have some kind of a political tie, then it's a little bit more fair.
You could find a jury. But Jordan, just with all due respect, you would not be able to ever adjudicate a case on any politician at all based on those rules. Good example, Trump has a judge down in, Miami down there, over one of his Jack Smith cases that he personally gave the job to. Notice he's not saying I can't get a fair trial there. No one is complaining that might be biased. The judge overseeing the case is someone he actually gave the job to. Do you believe that's fair?
So that is based on so first off, that case in Florida is obviously it's somebody that he appointed. And right now the judges that other presidents have appointed in those positions are either running out, they retired, whatever else. So it's basically on, whoever appointed these judges. However, this whole case in New York should never have been brought. You
didn't answer the question about what's going on down south. If you personally appoint a judge and gave them the job, and now they got to decide whether you're, guilty or innocent, do you believe that in that case he can't get a fair trial because the person overseeing the case is someone he gave the job to? Do you see any issue with that?
I guess it depends on the circumstances and what she's publicly said about him.
He gave her a job. Do I need to say anything public about you at all if you gave me a job?
She had to be confirmed for those jobs. Right. So it wasn't just him, right?
Okay.
She had to be confirmed by Congress. But I see where you're coming from. I do. Yeah. I'm not one of those crazy leftists where I'm just like all about Trump, everything, right? There are some things that I wish you wouldn't say. But on this side, the whole New York thing, all the scholars say they took a dead misdemeanor of a crime and they made it a felony to get rid of the statute of limitations. Should have never been brought from the start. And when you have people like Stephen A. Smith on ESPN, who is not a liberal, say that this is really bad for liberals and that the world can see what's happening, that you're trying to persecute your rival, that's a big deal. And this, every single time that he's in court, his poll numbers go up. Joe Biden starts to get a little bit of a lead, and Donald Trump picks back up in the polls.
I watched the Stephen A. Smith. He's made that statement on a few podcasts, and I totally understand where he's coming from. But I will say this: if you can watch what's going on in New York, and you believe that is, gung ho against Trump, and that looks bad for liberals. But Trump is going around the country saying he won the 2020 election by a landslide, and everybody on the Republican Party, in terms of his own administration, is saying he's lying about it, and that doesn't affect him. To me, it's like a two-tier vision system. We're holding the liberals accountable for something that looks ridiculous. I get it. But what Trump is doing in regards to the 2020 election, is there a single Republican senator, Republican governor, or Republican congressperson other than Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene that believes Trump won the 2020 election by a landslide? No, none of the Republican Party saying that. So we're going to hold the liberals accountable for what's going on in New York, but we're going to ignore that? I agree with you on the left, but if you don't see the right, I think you're missing the picture.
Hey, so I'll say at the time, there were a lot of really sticky things that I saw that I was like, oh, we might want to have these things looked at, right?
I want to see evidence.
The ballot harvesting, the videos that you saw of people going in and stuffing ballot boxes and covering up windows inside of places and then bringing suitcases in. I've seen the videos of it happening.
Have you seen the videos?
No, hold on a second.
Have you seen the videos of Republicans pleading guilty to interfering with the election?
I have.
Okay. So why is he saying he won?
But you have the thing. But you haven't seen them do the same thing for. Actually, there have been Democrats that have been charged with stuffing ballot boxes, that have been charged with fraud. It's happened, right?
Okay.
So what I was saying is we needed to look at it, right? It was looked at. Everybody shut it down. They may have shut him down for political purposes, whatever you want to say, right? I was happy they did it, and then I came to terms with, yes, he really did lose the election. Okay, so I was a Trump supporter. I still am right now. But I after they did all this stuff, came to find out, yes, it was not stolen. Like, okay. I don't think it was actually. I do not think it was stolen. Right? And
yet, the fact that he's still going around saying it was, to me, that makes him look just like what Stephen A. is talking about. You're going around saying that
he was. He was. He's still. I mean, he's held on that fact, right?
Yeah.
He's stuck on that fact. He's not budging from it. You keep saying things over and over and over again. You eventually, some other people start to believe you. You start to believe it. You still think it's true, right? I've told lies sometimes, so many times that I believed it was true. You know, ask my wife how that worked out for me.
But this lie is getting people. But Jordan, this lie has gotten people killed. So telling folks that you had the election stolen from you, that democracy is not secure, and not being truthful about it, you're getting people killed. People have lost their entire fortunes. People are in prison behind this. He is hurting fellow Americans by perpetuating this.
Yeah, you know, it's something that he obviously has. Again, that's a character flaw I hate about the man. I do. But my life was better under Trump. 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was, I was doing much better. I was not living paycheck to paycheck. Things just worked out better for me then. And times have changed drastically. And regardless of if, you know, the economy is always something that people will always judge a presidency on, as well as a couple of other factors. And I felt there was a better economy pre-COVID than ever. So that's what I have to say. You know, I appreciate you taking the time. I think I've been on your show before. You've always been very fair. It's been great. You know, hopefully I made some points to consider.
Listen. We don't have to agree. You're always welcome back. But I do want to say this in regards to life being better under Trump. If there is one person out there that probably wished it was Hillary Clinton that had won in 2016, it's probably Ashley Babbitt. Her life would have taken a whole different turn if Hillary Clinton had won. So rest in peace to her. But I do got to move it on, Jordan. Always welcome back. Thanks for coming through.
Thanks, sir.
Absolutely. Looking in the comment section, it seems like Trump's going to lose this case, says Brandon. Well, Brandon, if folks are suggesting that Trump cannot get a fair trial in New York, then yeah, they're going to certainly say he's going to lose the case. I will say this in regards to whether President Trump will get a fair trial or whether he will win or lose the case. Anytime you go to court, the judge has a window of things they can do, all the way from the left of being lenient to the right of being tough on you. When you go to court, and thank you for the hat and mustache there. I didn't see the name there. Appreciate that. Thank you. When you go to court, Sean the Don or something, Sean the Don, thank you for the hat and mustache. When you go to court acting like Trump is acting, it becomes more difficult to expect you to get a fair trial. You're attacking the family members of the judge before the case began. You already know once they assign you a judge, doing that is not going to get you assigned a different judge. That's just going to make the one that's assigned to you not like you as much. So the idea of you walking away from a trial where you have ridiculed the judge over and over again, expecting to get a fair shake, I don't understand why people don't see that as being harmful. Even if you think Trump is totally being railroaded, you can't do that. If a cop walked up right now while I'm on this live and started treating me like shit, everyone watching would say, regardless of how he's treating you, you should still comply. What Trump is doing is inappropriate. You can't go to court not complying with gag orders and things like that. He's not compliant. I mean, so I'm not saying he should, be thrown in prison, but we all know if you go to court and do what Trump does, you might spend a few days in jail. It's just the way it is. Trump has been very lucky in regards to his antics on these cases so far that he hasn't been found in, well, he has been found in contempt. He had to pay, what was it, a couple thousand or something like that, but he hasn't been locked up. I think you or I would be. Looking in the comments, and I do see Cap Q Corn says that the majority of us would be in jail. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I certainly talking about family members. Judge Ingram, I think he gave us somebody's address and think, yeah, you would spend a few days in jail for that. So the idea that Trump is dealing with a two-tier justice system based on what he's gotten away with, I think that system is treating him favorably. He's gotten away with some things that you and I would not get away with. Just because Biden campaigns from his basement, Trump has to be in court every day, says Jeff S. No, Trump is going to court every day because Trump likes to attack people, and it inspires them to attack him back. Going back to the box, tap the screen, get me on up to 55,000, over 800 of you in here. Appreciate that. We've certainly got some MAGA. It's been a conversation. You know, the program is always will be MAGA friendly in its entirety. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. MAGA are my preferred guests. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. Wing Ding King, good afternoon. Welcome back to the program. Everyone knows Sleepy Joe, but watching Donald nodding off, have you heard of Trazodone? I don't know. Oddly enough, there was not a lot of criticism from the right in regards to President Trump nodding off in court. He did do that. Let me see if Wing Ding King comes up. We'll give it a second. Sleepy Don, I see someone said. Each court appearance, Trump has been professional. Yeah, but then he walks out of court and does an interview and says all kinds of awful things about the judge. He's not in court doing it, but everybody knows it's happening. When he comes back into court and sits there looking dignified, everybody know what you did outside. Remember the old 90s movie, I Know What You Did Last Summer? I know what you did over lunch. People know what he's doing. You think when the judge, has a recess or when they let court out, you don't think that judge goes back to his chambers and watch CNN or Fox? Everything Trump is saying outside of the courtroom, that judge is sitting there watching that shit. You would. Everyone wants to know what he's saying. So, yeah, you don't come back in the courtroom looking dignified after you don't just call me an asshole on the steps. People hear that. And that's going to affect what goes on in the courtroom. I really think it will. Looking in the comments, he watches CNN for sure, says Gomez. CNN is the right-wing whipping boy. I get it. Trump's staff has already set in effect buying out one of the jurors. He won't get charged. How is he going to, if he buys out one of the jurors, isn't that a new crime? Isn't that folks are suggesting Trump constantly is being charged with shit. You're admitting he's buying out a juror. Isn't that another felony? Hopefully that's not happening. I mean, really, you just admitted the man is committing felonies. All right, going back to the box. I don't know what happened with my last caller. Wow, he's buying out a juror. Yay. Going back to the box. Unapologetic black man. Shout out to you. Good afternoon. Dumb comment of the month. Unapologetic. Good afternoon.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing good. No way in hell Trump can get a fair trial in New York. What say you?
Oh, shit, man. Every time I went to court, I thought, like, dang, a white judge, I'm not going to get a fair trial.
You make a good point. If everybody could criticize their judge based on something, I like the Cubs. Your ass like the White Sox. I mean, you come up with a million reasons to disqualify a judge.
Yeah, just think about it. The LGBT community, they'll never get a fair trial if it's not a gay judge, right?
Yeah.
A trans judge, right? So we get to ask of what judge we want over our case. That's not how law works. Like, come on, people. Golly. I get it. You like Trump. I liked him, too, when he was on The Apprentice. But put his ass back on TV. He's unqualified to run our office. Like I tell people all the time, they say, well, you like the Trump. And I was like, yes, because everybody had that idea that a businessman, Trump, with his attitude, he might do well in the White House. We wanted to see this swamp he was going to drain. I'm going to be honest. I wanted to see all the shit he was talking about. He was going to lock up Hillary, Obama. I was ready for it.
Wait a minute. You actually thought Obama was worthy of being locked up? You thought Obama committed a crime worthy of being locked up?
No, I just was ready for the entertainment, the dumbass reasons of why locking them up, like the impeachment with Mayorkas right now. It's all a fucking joke, just like 100. It's entertaining. So I was ready for the entertainment, but I actually thought he was going to be a badass in the White House, but he wasn't.
You thought you was getting a white Suge Knight, huh? So let me ask you this then.
Right.
DE on YouTube is saying when New York creates a law to specifically go after Trump, that creates a controversy. Also, the Hush Monkey trial is a lifelong Democrat, and his daughter is a Democratic consultant. So he's doing kind of saying what Trump is also saying is, your child is involved in left-wing politics. Therefore, you are tainted in terms of judging me. How do you see that? Do you believe that the politics of your offspring should be taken in consideration when you're doing your job?
Once again, when it's Trump, yeah. When it's anybody else, even us, as regular citizens, no, they don't think that. But just for Trump, this is what I mean about how all the rules can be broken for one man. Again, on his TV show, he can do that. You're fired here, you're fired there. He can fire people behind the camera. That's not how politics works, sir. Yeah. It's not. And again, all these new people, all these MAGA supporters, they're new to politics. You can hear when the fuck they're talking. He just said that they made a law for Trump. There's not one law in the book that says Trump name in it.
Yeah.
Nobody changed the law to charge Trump either.
And I've brought up before that the judge that gave O.J. Simpson 9 years in prison out in Nevada after he beat that very well-known case, she ran a campaign saying the same thing, that if she got elected, she would go after O.J. Simpson. She did get elected, and she did just that and gave him 9 years. And nobody didn't have a damn thing to say about the fact that she ran a campaign on locking somebody up. So it has happened before. Same thing with Letitia James allegedly running a campaign on locking somebody up. President Trump himself ran a campaign suggesting that if he won, he would lock Hillary Clinton up. As you state, for some reason, when Trump is the one that is being done to, people have a different view of it.
But Letitia James, I think it was 2019, Letitia James was invested in the Republican administration because they had that immigration and environmental policy. She was going against that. Now, while she was investigating that, Trump came on her radar. Now, when everybody knows when crimes come on radar, you just pass them off to somebody else. So she passed it off. Now, when she became Attorney General, that's when she had to pick up the case because it falls on her desk. She took over.
Yeah,
so
but let me ask you this.
Specifically aimed for Trump. She was just saying that, look, I know some shit, and if I get appointed or if I get elected, then guess what? I'm going after that shit.
Let's be honest. I mean, when you look at Trump's case, the fact is there is no one complaining that they were wronged because of Trump, even though he ordered to pay $335 million. There's nobody really crying victim. If Trump was not running for president, do you think this still would have came out the way it did?
Yeah, Letitia James is going after other companies, other corporations, other people, and getting hundreds of millions. I don't know why people think Trump is so fucking special. He's not, people. Letitia James is getting billions of dollars to New York. And when people say that nobody was hurt, the state was, New York, against Trump. So when people say, it's just like you saying that, nobody was hurt with an IRS case, or nobody was hurt with the Gotti cases and the things that they got them on. If the state of New York says that we need that damn money that you're stealing from us, then yes, maybe that money goes to some, like people say, America first, right? You want that money to go to America first? Well, Trump is stealing from America first. We need that fucking money back.
I like the way you said that. I'm going to just slightly deviate and say I disagree. And then I want to ask you about a question I've seen here on YouTube. But I will say that my personal belief is that if Trump was not such a bomb thrower that he is, insulting every damn body and their mama. And if he wasn't running for president, I think even with Letitia James having that case, they would have worked out something behind the scenes. He might have paid $1 million or $2 million at best, and that shit would have went away. I do believe a lot of it is political. Not saying that he's innocent, but I do believe it's hyped up because of who he is.
Oh, I can agree with that. But again, like you said, he still would have, that fraud case would have still dropped on the desk. Yeah. It would have been settled for less. Yeah. But again, Trump is no fucking stranger to the courtroom. I don't know why people acting like, oh, they're doing this. Trump has been in the courtroom more than I've been in the
because he's normally victorious. They're bitching about it because he's normally victorious. But I want to ask you this question before I move it on. This came in YouTube earlier from Dustin Clark. I'm going to give the floor to you. You take it any way you want. Give me your opinion of what it means. Dustin says, Joe and the hoe gotta go. Floor is yours.
I almost spit out my... Oh, my goodness. The things y'all say about Kamala, oh my, this is the crazy part about it, right? Like, they say that Trump never got a fair shot.
Right.
And then they sit here and they demonize people as soon as they find out.
That's a great point. That's a great point. They're not giving Kamala a chance from day one. Great point.
And then they expect for her to be super Kamala when they didn't give a fuck about puny Pence. Like, he could be quiet, sit in the damn corner. They didn't care. But Kamala, they expect for her to go down there with a hard hat and build a wall her damn self, right?
I like it. I can't disagree with any of that.
Again, like I said, I know you like people. There's certain, I love me some Katie Porter, some Jasmine Crockett. But if they say something dumb, or if they say something that's unqualified or has opposing views with my politics, then I'm going to point it out. I'm not going to just kiss ass because I love someone. Just that's all I mean. We're getting to the point where people identity are being their the politics that they are behind. And then when you speak about their politics, they have no fucking idea about it. So again, if y'all just like people, go fucking find you a WWE wrestler that you like. Support him. Put on a damn AAA cap or something. But not our politics. We do not play fanatics with our politics. That's all I'm saying. Politics used to be serious. I remember watching you talking to Sink and people like that. You guys, it wasn't funny. It wasn't anything ridiculous coming out you guys' mouth. It was kind of boring. I wish politics would just go back to being boring because this entertainment shit is scary.
Boring politics is only a Trump away. Once Trump is out of politics, that will likely happen. Got to move it on unapologetic. Good conversation as usual. Appreciate you coming on. Hey, same. All right, moving the program on. Wanted to tackle a couple other comments. I'm wondering about this guy named Tim, says Outlaw Josie Wells. Stay in the comments what you're wondering about. Outlaw is a friend of the program. Arena Rat, is that what it says? Kamala Harris, look how she got her job. You're suggesting that Kamala became VP because now she did I'm gonna say allegedly, but I think she did actually have an affair with someone of prominence earlier on in her career in California politics. And folks suggest that because she had an affair with somebody higher up, that is why she was promoted. It's an allegation. It could be true, but it's an allegation. But here's my issue with that. If you're going to fault Kamala for sleeping with someone to further herself, then you probably would say the same about Melania, right? You really think Melania just fell in love with a dude 30 years older than her, supermodel? Allegedly, she speaks 5 languages. She wasn't poor. Trump is considerably wealthier than her, but she wasn't poor. This ain't the type of woman that falls in love with a damn 70-year-old. So if you're going to point out Kamala, I mean, seriously, let's be fair about it. Don't stop at Kamala. Continue on. There's another hole to discuss. Look it in the comments, though. Yes, and she don't like him either, says TTA. Yeah, where the hell is Kamala these days? She sure don't seem to have Trump's back. Not to mention the videos of her walking and refusing to shake his hand and videos of him not even holding an umbrella over her head while she was raining. folks can see every damn misstep Joe Biden makes, but Kamala can smack Trump in the face, and it would barely get 2 seconds of discussion on the 5 on Fox. I don't know. Looking in the comments, Kamala is a Montel Jordan groupie. Montel Jordan ain't put out a song in 20. What difference does that make? Real quick, looking in the comments. Thank you, folks, for tapping the screen. Marie KS, thank you for that subscription. Certainly saw that I was focused on the guest, but thank you, Marie. Tap the screen. Get your boy on up to 70,000. We still have 850 to 900 of you folks. We've been kind of hovering around that. You can be anywhere you want to be on this Thursday afternoon. Glad to have you here with yours truly. 1 p.m. Monday through Friday is when we're here. We don't block, ban, or censor any damn body. You don't have to agree with anybody in the comment section or even yours truly. It's all about free speech. Free speech reigns supreme here. Program is MAGA friendly. Always has been, always will be. But liberals are welcome as well. Going back to the comments, somebody said, who is Montel? This is how we do it. That song guy from 90s. Dude's like 7 feet tall or some shit like that. Going back to the box, user says, awesome talk. Thank you very much. And speaking of Marie, good afternoon to you. I got an interesting one for you. But it says, for you goes against Republicans. Country Hound Dog, we'll be talking. Marie, good afternoon.
Hey, handsome, how are you?
I'm doing good. Pleasure having you on. Appreciate your support. Is it fair trial for Trump in New York an impossibility?
I think it's just as possible as it would be for you or I or any celebrity, as a matter of fact, to get a fair trial. I mean, if I sit on a jury, some people might see they may be presented with a drug case, and if they see a black, young, African-American guy with dreadlocks, they may initially say he did it, so it's none of us in a position to say whether his trial is going to be fair. It's going to be the jurors, the integrity and honesty of the jurors that, that is up to, that his having the ability to get a fair trial is up to those jurors. So
that's a good point.
Anyone else.
That's a good point you made about in regards to racial aspects. I saw the movie Emmett Till not long ago, and it was a case where they tried to try the individuals that brutally killed that young man. And yeah, it was a case of a jury that was never going to convict those dudes. There was no evidence could come out that was going to make them convict those white guys for killing that guy. So we've had a lot of tainted juries in this country, but how do you respond to folks who would suggest that on every jury, there's going to be at least one MAGA that would never convict Trump no matter what? Is that possible?
I mean, yes, that's possible, but then at the same time, it's just as likely that there will be someone who's a never Trumper who would always say no matter what, if evidence is presented, Trump is guilty. I mean, at the end of the day, Trump is going to be treated just like any other American. That's my opinion. People talk about the judge and his child. What about Clarence Thomas and his wife, who is MAGA, and he presides over so many things that affect Americans every day. Roe v. Wade, all of that for decades. So, hey, whatever is fair or unfair, we all are subjected to that. The same level of fairness or unfairness. So he's no different and should not be treated any different than the rest of us.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you at all in regards to pointing out if a judge's family is involved in politics and they're tainted, which is what Trump is saying, Justice Thomas should absolutely qualify, because during the whole 2020 election controversy, his wife was actually working with the Trump administration. So, and you notice Trump, nor most of Trump followers, I haven't heard any of them saying that Justice Thomas is tainted or should have recused himself. So is it just a case where people are speaking on behalf of Trump and they don't give a damn when it happens to somebody else?
Yeah, people really don't care about the honesty of or the fairness, integrity of our justice system. It's only when it's against someone they don't like. Black people, and I hate to bring it back to race, but that's what I'm black. I mean, black people have been thrown under the jail for less, who have been put in front of all white racist juries for centuries or country, and I won't say no one, but MAGA didn't give a damn. You guys weren't protesting. You guys weren't in Selma doing the walk with MLK for black rights. So just shut the hell up now.
Woo.
Okay?
All right, Marie. All right. Save some of that for the playoffs. Wow. All right, Marie, I do got to move it on. But last but not least, I want to ask you part of the second topic, because the MAGA, the right side of the aisle, doesn't seem to have any love for Ukraine. Do you believe America would be better off if the Ukrainians just fell to Russia?
I would say more of the question is Putin bad for America? I mean, to be honest, I'm not so well versed in foreign affairs, and I don't always trust what our government tells us because, hey, they do a lot of scamming and scheming, America, but at the same time, I will be a hypocrite if I say, oh, America is full of crooks, and because I benefit from them, intervening in a lot of other countries' affairs. We're safe because America has spies everywhere. So I don't really have an opinion, to be honest.
Well, you admitted in the conversation you're not really well versed on it, so we'll leave it at that. I do have to move on, Marito. Appreciate the subscription there. Thank you once again. Appreciate the support. Anytime. Doors always open.
Have a good day.
You too. Definitely a pleasure.
All right, bye-bye.
All right. Looking in the comments, America pays everybody, says the movie stream. I don't know about everybody, but we do pay a lot of folks, and we get something out of it. Because folks always say, as opposed to sending money overseas, why don't we take care of our own people here at home? Well, that sounds great. That is the morally correct thing to do. But at the end of the day, we're a capitalist country. It's all about making money. You don't make any money taking care of the downtrodden in America. You make money by investing in wars and things like that. That's why you would hear the old 1990s lyrics from Tupac. You got money for wars, but can't feed the poor. Because wars have a return on my investment. Feeding the poor does not. And that's how Americans think. What are we talking about right now with the attempt to re-elect Trump? The economy. I was making more money under Trump. I don't give a damn what happened or what he did or what he's being accused of. I care more about the fact that I was making more money under Trump. Therefore, I'm willing to overlook anything you're accusing him of. Because at the end of the day, if I'm making money, paying less for gas, inflation is down, I can buy more shit to bring home. That's all I care about. That's all I care about. That's kind of the American way. It's about money, about profits. Looking in the comments, why was Trump hanging out with Poland's president yesterday? I'll wait. I didn't hear about that. I know he hung out with the president of Hungary. I heard about that some weeks ago, but the president of Poland have not heard about that. P. Diddy killed Tupac, says Outlaw. Oh, that could be a whole nother live stream. Let me go back to the box. Appreciate you guys that are tapping the screen. We might get to 80,000 if you let your thumbs not be lazy. We'll continue on with Kathy. Does that say cut the malarkey? Kathy. Good afternoon. Trump is innocent until found guilty. Gomez, I 100% agree with you, but hopefully you had that same mindset when Trump and MAGA were yelling, lock her up. Innocent until found guilty. That is the American way. No one should be suggesting anyone goes to jail before they've had their day in court. Hillary Clinton has never been found guilty of a damn thing. So if Trump deserves to be viewed as innocent until proven guilty, then so does Hillary Clinton. And it's awful that Trump is now suggesting he deserves that view when he was doing exactly the opposite to Hillary. I think he also said something like, if you plead the fifth, it means you got something to hide. It means you work with the mob. And then all of a sudden when he was pleading the fifth, well, I guess I kind of found out I was wrong. You don't make a good victim when you're doing things like that. I just want to say that. I like Trump. He kept it real. No gray line, says Daniel Price. You think he kept it real about Stormy Daniels? I don't know if he kept it real. He said what he wanted to say, but I don't know if it was all real or not. Gen X, friend of the program, you do not believe that. Laughing my ass off. To you, Trump was guilty before he was even charged. I will suggest that in some of these cases, what I'm seeing presented does look like Trump would be more likely guilty than innocent. But I could sit on the jury. Let me just be honest with you. You may disagree with this. Folks may, after hearing my program, may think I'm full of shit. And I invite you to say so in the comments if you do. I don't block, ban, or censor anyone. But I do believe I could judge Trump fairly as a juror. If I thought the evidence was overwhelming that Trump was innocent, doesn't matter my politics. I would not convict someone that I thought did not do anything wrong. I would not convict them. Looking in the comments, what crime did Hillary commit? Trump suggests there's a whole death list of folks who, fell asleep on the railroad tracks, or this guy just decided to jump off the balcony on this. There's a whole lot of folks that accuse the Clintons of doing some horrible stuff. Babies, blood. They come with some, but in terms of proof, zero proof. There's no proof. Going back to the box, my last caller was not able to come up, so we'll continue on with you ain't nothing but a country hound dog. Good afternoon. If the box will let hound dog up, there you go, hound dog. Good afternoon.
How's it going?
It's going good. Good to have you back on. So, is a fair trial an impossibility for Trump?
Yeah, I think it is in New York. Maybe they should move it to a state that's a little more 50-50.
What state would that be?
You just have to look and see. That's all I can say.
Yeah, but since when does a defendant get to dictate the politics of where his case is held at? They don't run cases like that. Thank you, Silva and Adair, for that super chat. Thank you. You don't get to pick and choose where your case is held.
You've seen as much as I have. I don't think you could probably count. If you polled every New York citizen there is, I'd say 80% of them are going to be dead set against Trump, period. That's it.
Okay, what about Florida? What about if you polled every Floridian?
And in Florida, he would not get a fair trial because it would be leaning too far to the right.
Well, why? He
the middle, which would be probably somewhere along the lines of Colorado. Colorado tends to split right in half.
Colorado took his name off the ballot. What are you talking about?
They did, but as for the number of people within Colorado, it tends to be just about dead even Republican Democrat.
Yeah, but I'm just going to say this, country hound dog, even though I'm not disputing what you're saying, there's no way if a Republican or a Democrat is charged with a crime, they're not going to go through all of that. If you commit a crime in New York, that's what they're going to charge you with. They're not going to look. If you didn't want to be tried by liberals, you should have did this in a Republican state. He committed the crime in New York. That's where he's going to get charged at. That's
a good point. And as you have said, though, if Trump wasn't running for president, would have any of this been brought to the level that it's at?
Yeah. Real quick, your audio is going in and out. Are you moving away from the mic or something? You're going in and out.
There we go. Can you hear me better?
A hell of a lot better. Yeah, that made a big difference. So
I'm a diesel mechanic, and my phone cases get covered in grease in the speaker holes. So, anyways, but no, it's just like I said. If Trump wasn't running for president, I don't think it would be at the level it's at.
Yeah.
And you said it'd be much lower.
But let's be clear: if Biden wasn't president or running for re-election, what's going on with Hunter Biden wouldn't be happening either. He applied for a gun permit, lied that he had a drug problem in the past, didn't commit any crimes with the gun and got rid of it. And they're locking him up for tax evasion even though he paid the money back. Aren't they doing the same to him?
Well, on the gun charge, if that was me or you, they'd be locking us up. He got a sweetheart deal on that.
No.
The tax evasion, I don't know nothing about.
I saw legal analysts state they have never seen anyone of high prominence or a regular citizen charged with lying on a gun application when there was no crime committed with the gun. In other words, yes, somebody may get charged with he got charged with, but it's usually after they don't shot somebody, got caught in possession of the weapon, or doing something else. That is the only crime, is he lied on the gun application. Now, if Biden was not president, either that charge would have never come up, or they would have made a quick, small deal behind the scenes. He would have paid a fine, and that would have went away. You don't think he's being railroaded at all in that?
Well, and you're right. And once again, what it proves is when you're in the public eye, you're going to be held to a higher standard.
Right.
And should be. And yes, Trump should be held to a higher standard as well. But, honestly, I think the standard the amount that they're going after him for, I think, is on the ridiculous side.
It's high. So
Okay.
let me ask you this question, though.
Well, that's only because he was running for president.
Well, let me ask you a little bit more about that. In addition to him running for president, let's say you go out and you get pulled over for, let's say, littering. You don't throw out a whole bag of garbage on the highway. The judge has a window of how much they can fine you. Maybe the fine could be $50 if he feels sorry for you, or maybe it could be $1,000 if he feels like you're a piece of shit. If you go to the court and act the way Trump acted, between $50 and $1,000, where do you think that fine's going to lie?
And you're right. It's probably going to be on the higher end.
Yeah, it's going to be excessive. It's going to be excessive, just like Trump's.
Right. But in a way, you got to give Trump credit. Just think about it. He's keeping everything in the public eye. He's keeping the limelight on him. Everybody knows everything going on. There's nothing that's going to be able to be hidden. And there's nothing coming in the November election that the Democrats are going to be able to say that everybody don't know already.
No, I don't.
Taking away ammunition.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but going on the court steps and saying stuff about the judge's daughter, and the judge has Trump derangement syndrome. I think he called the judge the most corrupt judge in New York City. He don't have any evidence of that. He can't prove that judge overseeing his case is the most corrupt judge in New York City. He has no evidence of that at all. So when you say he wants to keep everything in the limelight, some of the stuff in the limelight is him going overboard and telling a bunch of lies.
And all of that, like I said, is to he's just trying to keep everything in the limelight. Come November, there is nothing the Dems are going to be able to say that everybody don't know already. And it's going to make it hard for the Dems to play against him. However, I told you earlier, I said I had something interesting for you, and that actually goes against Republicans. Now, I'm a conservative. I'm Republican.
What you got?
I'm MAGA. But this is me being fair. The state of Ohio, okay? And what has happened, I read through the whole article, okay? They have a 90-day policy. The Democrats were supposed to get in there and register Biden 90 days prior, and they did not. So somebody screwed up. Somebody dropped the ball. Don't know who.
What are you saying? They're going to potentially... Wait a minute. Are they going to remove Biden from the ballot in Ohio? Is that what you're suggesting?
Because somebody dropped the ball. Ohio is now talking about removing Biden based on this 90-day policy. However, Ohio, they did say in the interview that they could convene a special counsel and give him leniency and bypass the 90-day law, which in my opinion, they should do.
Okay.
Now, I have said, I went against Colorado, even though they removed Trump. They wanted to, and I said that was wrong. And Ohio trying to remove Biden. Now, if they remove him based on this 90-day, that is their law. But in the long run, it is still wrong.
Yeah.
Okay?
It would be very wrong to do that.
Put him on the ballot. Let America decide. Let the citizens vote.
Yeah.
So like I said, this is me. I'm MAGA, I'm Republican. But that does go against, that's Republicans doing the same dirty BS that Democrats are kind of trying to pull in some states, not all.
And you're right. That is very fair. That's very fair of that, because for you to say that.
and it was actually a Yahoo News story I read, which surprisingly told the truth about the Republicans on it and told the truth about the law. I was kind of shocked by that because Yahoo tends to lean left. Okay. But I was relieved to see they told the whole truth about it. So that's good. That's good. I was amazed.
Well, it will be interesting to see where Trump lies on what Ohio decides to do. If Trump gets out there and says that Biden should not be put on the ballot, in my opinion, anybody who fought to make sure Trump was on the ballot in Ohio and in Colorado and Maine, if they're okay with removing Biden from the ballot in Ohio, but they were against Colorado and Maine, then they're biased. I'd be curious to see where Trump lies on this, though.
And you're right about that. And if Trump is smart, he'll say it. Leave Biden on the ballot. That'd be the smartest thing he could say about it.
Fair enough. I don't think Biden's going to win Ohio anyway, but yeah, I agree.
But it's our choice.
Right.
Not the politics.
Well said. All right, Country Hound Dog. Good. You were fair on that. As promised. Appreciate you coming through.
I try to be. And hey, as for the other day when I told you I had to step away for a minute, I run a road service for semi trucks. So when that semi breaks down on the side of the road, I'm the one that goes out and fixes it. And I had a customer pull up I had to deal with. So I do apologize for that. I had to kind of cut out really quick. So anytime if I'm in here, if I got to cut out fast,
don't worry about it. I
had work come in.
Yeah, 2 words. Shit happens. No problem. Appreciate the explanation.
That's how I make my money.
Well said.
If my phone rings, I go 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Nothing wrong with a hardworking man, Country Hound Dog. Pleasure talking to you once again. Anytime.
I'll see you around.
Absolutely. All right, looking in the comments. How about they just give us better candidates on both sides, says James Sykes. I think the Democrats would agree with that. The Republicans would not. The Democrats are not big fans of Biden running, Biden part 2. The Republicans want Trump. They wanted Trump to, they had 9 other choices. We got shit like Kennedy, Kennedy is not, even Kennedy's own family is coming out in support of not voting for him. That's all we really had, or Marianne Williamson, or some of these folks that nobody know. But on the right, they had the likes of Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Chris Christie, Vivek Ramaswamy, Tim Scott, I believe the governor of North Dakota, Tom Brahman or whatever. They had a hell of a lot more choices, and they want Trump. They want him. So I agree with you. We could have had better. I think we needed better choices as well, but the Democrats were forced to deal with Biden because they didn't have anybody, they didn't let anybody really primary him, talking about the DNC, and the Republicans didn't want anybody but Trump. So here we are. Looking in the comments, if Trump gets arrested, then Vivek will be president. Based on what? I don't think that's going to happen. Trump may get arrested, but I don't think Vivek's going to be president. Trump T, like Humpty Dumpty, Trump T can't stay awake in a criminal trial. The ball's on him. His prison husband will appreciate that. You think somebody going to go up inside of an 80-year-old man? No. That's gross. Looking in the comments, Trump, even if elected, will win. I don't quite get that. If he's elected, he should win. Going back to the box, asking that question, can Trump get a fair trial? By the way, now that we got a larger audience, and by the way, tap the screen too. Perhaps we can get to 100,000 on TikTok if you let your thumbs not be lazy. 900 plus of you in here, same on YouTube. Smash that like button. Get me on up to 20. I think that can be done. Smash that like button if you enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle without any concern of the host trying to block, ban, or censor you for your opinion. You are in the right place. It's all about free speech here. Program's MAGA friendly, but liberals are welcome as well. I mentioned this in the beginning of the program, but the audience is bigger now. I actually was able to speak with Michael Cohen, Trump's attorney. Michael Cohen live yesterday for about a half hour. I did ask him what, in my opinion, were some very tough questions. I questioned his credibility and questioned how are jurors supposed to believe him when he's admitted to so much wrongdoing and actually served time for perjury over Trump. He took my questions. He did appear to be a bit shocked. Thank you, Andy, for that beautiful hat. Appreciate that. But yeah, I did talk to Michael Cohen for about a half hour. Many of you in the comment section, I see some actually did watch it. I see Ashton said great questions. Arena Rat says good content, Mr. Handsome. Thank you, Arena on YouTube. But yeah, I did question Cohen for about, I was surprised he let me come up. And he did, you know, he talked to me for about a half hour, and it's his live. So the audience is going to overwhelmingly be pro Cohen. So, you know, you bring up a black dude, well, shit, I'm sure he's going to be anti-Trump. Go get him, Cohen. Yay, yay, yay. That ain't what happened. That ain't what happened. I questioned the hell out of him and asked questions that the other guy was like, well, it's a back and forth. I didn't know he was going to do all this, but he gave me my props, and Cohen did not have a prop. Michael Cohen's a tough guy. Trump would not have somebody around him for 20 years as his fixer that was a wimp. So Cohen is a tough guy. And he stated he appreciated me being tough on him, and he responded by saying, look, he ain't no tougher than Congress. But I did ask him, you know, about him helping Trump hide a mistress while not telling his own wife. Michael Cohen admitted that he was also trying to hide the payment of Stormy Daniels from his own wife. And I asked him, like, how the hell are we supposed to believe you if you're not even being honest with your own wife? And he didn't like it as much, but he did respond to that. And yeah, I told him, I said, you know, from a credibility standpoint, you admitting that you helped the former president hide an affair from his wife with money that you paid while trying to hide the payment from your wife. I told him, I said, you better hope there are no broken-hearted females on that juror. He didn't like it, but he stayed there and answered the question. It was good. It was a good conversation. But looking in the comments, how did he do in your opinion? He's tough. He's tough. He answered the questions, the P. How did he do? I think he answered the questions. I think I find him mostly credible. I believe most of what he's saying at this point. I mean, he's already done time for perjury. If it hasn't sunk in your head that you need to stop lying, I don't know what will. I mean, they already sent them to prison for lying. So the idea that he's going to go back before the courts and lie again, I don't believe that. Because he knows Trump is not going to bail him out. MAGA don't give a damn about him, and the liberals are only using him to go after Trump. So he is a man on his own. So I don't believe Michael Cohen is going to go back before the courts and lie again. There's very little to gain out of it. There's very little to gain. So I found him to be mostly credible, but I don't think he liked the questions I was asking. But going in the comments, he is a vengeance. Perhaps. I mean, Trump did throw him under the bus. I mean, and I asked him that, you know, you're spewing all this stuff about Trump. I asked him, I was like, you seem like you were totally okay. You talking about the guy is racist. You suggested that he was, what did he say, sexist or something like that. I'm like, you were totally okay hanging around this guy, receiving a paycheck until he threw your ass under the bus. And now you want to do a tell-all? I don't know if he liked that either, but I did ask him. All right, going back to the box. But it made for a good conversation. And I do appreciate Mr. Cohen for speaking with me. So looking in the comments, better yet, stick the ruler. Let me try if it brings up again. DJ Julio, yeah! Thank you for the hat and mustache. Stick. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, handsome. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Trump
is... I'm glad.
Go ahead.
I'm glad. No, I was just going to say I'm glad to see that you and Michael Cohen had that run-in that I intended for y'all to have. You know what I mean?
Oh, you intended for that to happen?
I've been on this. Yeah, I intended on it. Yeah. Me and Z-Pac, well, I was already following him, and I sent Z-Pac invite to one time, and Z-Pac ended up getting on doing his Trump impersonation.
Yeah.
And I'm a nobody, but like you said, he's a tough guy. Now that he's had his rehab / he's no longer under the Trump derangement syndrome, the real Trump derangement syndrome that seems like MAGA has, he's doing a tell-all, man. And I think that you was the right person to ask him those questions, because they're fair questions. As tough as they are, they're fair. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so and I done that on the.
Glad that happened.
Yeah, I done that on the fly. I wasn't expecting to get that invite. You know, I was sitting on the couch watching TV, and they said, "Oh, damn, I'm about to talk to Michael Cohen." So I ran up and got comfortable, you know, and I didn't have anything written down. If I had a few moments to really do a little research, those questions would have been a hell of a lot tougher. But what I asked him really came right off the top of the dome. But I'm glad he did. I'm glad he was able to take me. I mean, it was an honor. It was an honor to talk to the guy.
Yeah. So, what was your first question? I'm sorry, I just had to get that out of there.
Yeah, not a problem. Can Trump is saying he can't get a fair trial in New York. What say you?
I say he's going to get a fair trial, just like every other citizen is reported out of New York that be having a fair trial. Now, I just can't see him. It's just weird. When you say a fair trial, I keep thinking of how he made his makeup darker.
What?
You know what I'm trying to? Yeah, he made his makeup darker.
He's trying to look black.
Orange. He's now tan. So he's actually tan instead of orange. He's changed it up. It's darker. If you look at some of his. Yeah, if you look at some of his new interviews and different stuff like that, even one of the newscasters pointed it out, because you can see how dark his face is, and then his ears and his eyelids are white as I don't know what.
Maybe because he's stuck in New York, he can't get the product he normally uses or something. I mean, I don't know. That's crazy. I didn't notice that.
Man, nah, man. This man is trying to play on I'm as dark as me or you, and we ain't buying it, man.
Well, he did suggest though. I mean, because you sound like he was trying to be Sammy Sosa from the Cubs, but he did suggest. He did suggest, though, that because he has a mugshot and because the police are constantly messing with him, it would appeal to the black community. What say you? You think that's a possibility?
No, I don't think it appeals to the black community. I think it appeals to anybody that just wants to give a FU to the government. Anybody that want to give a FU to the government, 9 times out of 10 are MAGA or want to follow Trump. Just because they feel like he's a loudmouth, just because they feel like he shoots from the hip and all of this other stuff. But at the end of the day, for the smart American, and you don't have to be black, you don't have to be white. For the smart American, you see through the bull. What does anything have to do if the president is white or black? But he's asking you, do you want the white president or do you want the black president?
Wow.
I think you want the white president. So yeah, like, what did that have to do with it? Now, do I want the president that brings me cheaper goods? Yes. Do I want the president that stays out of trouble? Yes. Do I want the president that's not always in the news because he's broken some type of law or committed fraud or SA? Yes. See, these are the type of questionnaires that they need to have on whatever the Republican Party doc or whatever they was doing with trying to find out, were you with the Bigelow boys or were you with this? Yeah. It's stupid.
Well, you want to ask those questions because obviously if somebody is a member of the Proud Boys, the chances of them convicting Trump is highly unlikely. I mean, I think those are legitimate questions to ask, but let me ask you this one. Hot Pants on YouTube says, I think if you ain't from New York, don't speak. I'm from New York. Courts are corrupted. Illegal beat up cops, but Trump gets courted. So in other words, they're letting illegals beat up cops and not face justice, but all of a sudden they're trying to throw the book at Trump. He's suggesting that Trump cannot get a fair trial in New York, and if you ain't from there, you don't have a right to speak on it. How do you respond to that?
Well, first of all, no, I'm not from there, but yes, I have lived there. See, a lot of times people talk because they don't know who is actually speaking on the other end. So let me give you folks out there that don't know who Stick the Ruler is, let me just give you a little background. I'm an Army brat, which means 9 times out of 10, I lived at least 70% of the states that we have. That's number one. Number two, not only being an Army brat, I'm also a veteran myself. And I got to see those same states all over again on my tour of duty. So, like, I just, it's ridiculous to say just because you're not from there, because that's the same person that'll speak on Chicago and lives in Mississippi.
Great point. Great point. There's a hell of a lot of folks on the right that bash Chicago all the damn time, and they ain't never been there. I can't argue with that.
So for a black man, I can say, I'm questionable about going to any courtroom in America. Yeah. That's just me. And I could be damn wrong. I could be walking into states that's going to give me 100% of my rights, just like they're giving Trump. Matter of fact, he's getting 110%. But I believe that the DOJ is looking at it like this. Let him exhort every avenue that he can so we can actually tie him up and get him. Because I'm going to tell you, the state cases are different than his Fed cases. Feds do not go in and indict anybody unless they know they're going to get a conviction.
But let me ask it to you this way.
This is the problem that he has.
Yeah, but let me ask you to you this way. Ultimately, every single charge that Trump is dealing with will, because you mentioned state versus federal, all of this stuff is eventually going to go to the federal Supreme Court that Trump has a 6-3 majority. Do you think that Supreme Court is capable of judging Trump fairly? Because everything is going to be appealed up to that. You see his pattern. He's appealing even when a judge issues little shit like gag orders and stuff, he's appealing everything. It all will go to the Supreme Court. Do you feel confident that Supreme Court can judge Trump fairly?
I believe that they will judge him over fairly. I believe that they will actually, especially the 6 judges that are right-leaning, they will definitely give him all the exhortation as he can. The question is, will they do it to the letter of the law in the sense of, will they bend the law for him? Or will they actually just say, you know, in this case, as much as I like you, because that's what it all boils down to, they like him versus he's good for the country. But as much as I like you, I gotta judge you just like I would judge anybody else. So that's what we gotta look forward to. Yeah. Are they gonna do their job in the sense of be fair that way and judging him the way anybody else would be judged, or are they going to give him that benefit of the doubt because he appointed some of them, or because he's a Republican and right-leaning, whatever, he's the nominee.
What about the one that's
like all of these things?
What about the one that's coming down the pipe very soon? The immunity case. You know, that right now he's suggesting that he should have had immunity for what happened on January 6th because he was president. You think they're going to rule in his favor on that?
No, and the reason they're not going to rule in his favor is because they don't want to give Biden any ammunition. I mean, Biden is the president right now.
Well said. So
that would mean Biden could do anything that Trump was trying to do, and it wouldn't be illegal. So I don't think that they're going to do that, because that's just another Pandora's box. And now we're talking about the Democrats, and you're Republican. So if you give Trump that means it automatically goes to Biden as well. Yeah. Now your job, just like if Trump becomes a dictator, is on the line. Yeah. That's how I look at it.
Well said, Stick. I do have to move it on. Good talk, as always. Thank you for coming through.
And one last thing.
Sure, go ahead.
There's a couple of things that Trump has in common, but I'm going to just give you one. Trump said he could think the documents unclassified, correct?
That's crazy, yeah.
Okay. Saddam Hussein said, anything I write on a piece of paper is law. So does that sound like a dictator to you? If I can think it, or if I can write it down, is law?
It definitely, I don't have my, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I don't know what, okay, I see you. It definitely is problematic. The idea that you would suggest you can think something into existence with no written record or evidence you ever did it. Yeah, it's problematic in my opinion. But I do appreciate you coming in, man.
So definitely, you have a good day, Handsome. I appreciate you letting me in here and letting my word get out. And I think you should do another one with Michael Cohen.
I don't know if he let me in, but I talked to him again. It is going to be worse, right, because if I know it's coming, I'm going to sit down and think about those questions. I did all that off the fly, so it might be worse.
Okay, well, the next time I'll try to give you a bigger heads up so you can come in maybe 2 or 3 minutes after he's already started.
All right. Thank you. Talk to you later.
All right.
All right, looking in the comments, real quick on YouTube, Nate's Memes states, watch 2000 Mules. 2020 election was stolen. Real quick, Nate, I've watched 2000 Mules 6 times, I think. Probably about 6 or 7 times. I've done, I think, 3 or 4 lives on it. 2000 Mules works if you already believe the election was stolen, and it essentially preaches to the choir. If you start asking questions, 2000 Mules falls apart. A simple question I would ask, and I've often presented this, is why did you only go looking for fraud in Democratic areas? Okay, 2000 Mules shows allegedly ballots being stuffed in mailboxes. There's an overhead view of people coming to the mailbox over and over again. They went to Michigan, they go to Detroit. They went to Wisconsin, they go to Milwaukee. They went to Arizona, they go to Phoenix. They go to Georgia, they go to Atlanta. What's happening in Decatur, Georgia? What's happening in Eau Claire, Wisconsin? All of these red areas, every state has a hell of a lot more red areas than blue, but notice he's only in the blue areas. Was there any cheating in the Republican areas? Well, no, I didn't check. I only went to Democratic areas. Then your whole investigation is improper. If I only send police to your neighborhood to do their job, guess where all the crime is going to be at the end of the year? It all happened in your neighborhood because that's the only place we policed. So just that simple issue with 2000 Mules, which folks didn't question because they walked in theaters or watched it on their devices already believing the election was stolen, just simply asking that question, why are you only doing investigations in Democratic areas? Well, because I believe all Republicans are honest and Democrats cheat. Then you're biased. Then you're biased. And you watch 2000 Mules, not one Republican area was any investigation performed. So it could have been cheating all day in those areas. Were any ballots being stuffed, in rural Georgia? I don't know. We didn't go there. Then your investigation is trash. 6 times I watched it. 6 times I watched it. Also, I will tell you this. In regards to stuffing ballot boxes and things like that, if you can't see what's on the ballot, how do you know it's in favor of Biden? How do you know it's in favor of Democrats? There are folks who believe that Black Lives Matter and Antifa was at the Trump gathering on January 6th. If Black Lives Matter would show up to that, then damn it, there could be some Republicans stuffing ballot boxes in black neighborhoods. None of this was considered. None of this was considered. Which, hey, the ballots are being stuffed in this mailbox over and over again. It must be Democrat. Nothing that Dinesh D'Souza none of the conclusions he came up with in 2000 Mules could actually be based on its face. Everything had to also add some kind of assumption. I see folks coming to this box over and over again. Therefore, I assume they're committing a crime. The cell phone data shows this person coming back and forth. Therefore, I assume they're doing something wrong. You can't go to court with a bunch of assumptions. You can't make a case based off assumptions. And yeah, 2000 Mules fell apart real quick if you just had a objective eye to it. Nate's Memes. Election oversight has been hijacked by lib activists. Thank you for the super chat, Nate. We have an opposing opinion. Who gives a damn? Appreciate your comment. But in regards to election oversight being hijacked by liberal activists, why are there so many Republican election officials pleading guilty to it? Pleading guilty to election fraud, fake electors. Do we skip over that and only pretend like the liberals are doing it? Do we hold liberals who are found to be committing election fraud guilty and just assume any Republican pleading to it is being railroaded by the system? Is that how we look at this? Because you got Republicans pleading guilty to it. Thank you, Andy. Appreciate that. The rule of law is for suckers. Yikes, said most criminals. Andy, thank you. Welcome to the program. Cannot get a fair trial in New York. Maybe Trump needs to be tried in your state of Alabama, Andy. What say you?
He should probably still get convicted.
You think Alabamians would throw Trump in jail?
There was a study. This is like when they got his grand jury. They did a study that even people that were for somebody, when put in a trial setting and told that they had to tell the truth under oath, almost always did. And that's shocking, but I was like kind of impressed because grand juries all over this country, in Georgia, put him where he is now. Yeah. There had to be a grand jury before you could have a jury. So if we can get a grand jury to bring about all these charges, we can get a jury. Yeah. I don't see that as a problem. I heard you talking about 2,000 Mules.
Yes.
I would like to remind them that, if Michael Moore got a pardon from Biden and then made a movie, they wouldn't believe it.
That is a great point, that Dinesh D'Souza received a presidential pardon from Trump, and now we're supposed to believe the evidence he's presenting is unbiased. You're correct. If Michael Moore, who done Fahrenheit 9/11 and a host of anti-right-wing movies, if he got a presidential pardon from a liberal, they would view him like Rachel Maddow or somebody. You're right about that. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. And earlier when they were talking about Russia has been our enemy my entire life. Like, I even know Republicans who have a hard time, like, with Putin, even now. Because they're older and they're like, they remember the wall and, they can't understand why people would actually, and even if they believe the Republican Party, they still, in some places here, don't side with Putin.
Yeah. Why do you think the Republicans are so pro-Russia? And before you answer that, tap the screen, folks. Get me on up to 120. Certainly smash that like button on YouTube.
It baffles me because if you read about Putin's history, he was a foot soldier in the USSR, wasn't he?
Yeah. He's part of the KGB.
Right. So, his whole thing is misinformation. Russian propaganda has been a thing since I was a child.
Yeah. But Trump...
And he wants the old USSR back, which means the Ukraine and Poland. Those were all part of the USSR.
But how about the notion that maybe it's a good thing that Trump tried to reach out to one of our adversaries, maybe to break the ice? Is that not a good thing that he reached out to Putin or reached out to Kim Jong-un?
You see what happened to Putin's last best friend?
Yeah, the one that was poisoned, found dead in jail.
Or the one that marched on him and ended up.
Yeah.
Just like Donald Trump, what does Putin do to his friends? Michael Cohen was Donald Trump's friend.
I asked him about that. I talked to him yesterday.
Don't mess up the trial, Tim. That's what I came up
here.
That's interesting. Don't ask him nothing that'll mess up the damn trial. I will be angry as hell with you.
I did tell him that. I said, but he's a lawyer. I told him, I said, look.
I know, but
if anything, I'm asking you anything that you can't answer, just come out and say that. I'm not going to, like you said, I don't want to compromise the trial. He did say a couple of things he couldn't tell me, and, fair is fair. Yeah. So it was a good talk, though. I enjoyed talking.
I just want to bring up those things. Like, Dinesh D'Souza got a pardon. Russia has always been our enemy. Russia does not treat people good. Do you not remember when they emptied the Russian gulags into America? Oh, the other thing I wanted to tell you. Excess in the 80s. Reagan. In the... we're talking about, okay, let's talk about the progression of Christmas. In the 70s, people brought home a tree that they just cut down. You were lucky if your parents went to Kmart and got you something, a layaway. You got clothes for school. You didn't get a computer. You didn't get a new iPad. You definitely didn't get...
Well, they didn't have it back then. They didn't have an iPad or a computer in the 70s.
Our parents still got us basic necessities. People quit spending within their means.
Yeah.
The 80s came about. Credit cards were more accessible. People started the phrase keep up with the Joneses, and that became a thing. And people started spending way outside their means. So when we are talking about what we need, when people are talking about buying stuff, people don't buy just what they need anymore. They buy what they want, and they tell themselves it's a need, and they spend tons of money that they don't have. That's just my personal opinion.
I don't disagree with any of that at all, Andy. Appreciate you coming in. I'll go ahead and move it on.
Thanks.
Thank you. Same, absolutely. So, and that's what we're asking. Can Trump get a fair trial? Now, I did ask the secondary question being, would America be better off if the Ukrainians fell to Russia? because there are a host of folks on the right that have no love for Ukraine at all, or believe that Ukraine is indeed more corrupt than Russia itself. So would the Ukrainians, or better yet, would America be better off if the Ukrainians just were consumed by Russia, just occupied it, maybe even annexed it and took it back over? Looking in the comments, to answer your question, who cares? Well, a lot of folks do. A lot of folks care, Larry Anderson. There are American-born citizens here of Ukrainian descent, of Russian descent. A lot of folks care. Belarus, the one country in that region that is cooperating with Russia. You got some of them folks in this country. A lot of folks care about that. There's a lot to be had. People invest in the Ukrainian or Russian economy. There's reasons to care. Looking at the Ukrainians being consumed is like giving over Czechoslovakia. Disgusting and reprehensible idea, says Lament. Well, some folks believe that things would be better off like that. That's why I posed the question. America should not be supporting Ukraine's economy, says Nate Smith. What about supporting their sovereignty? Not their economy, but helping them simply stay alive. If Ukraine falls, for instance, do you think Vladimir Zelenskyy, the current leader of the Ukraine, do you think the Russians would let him live? Let him remain free? If that country falls, you don't think there would be a worldwide hit put on his head? If there's not already one now? So it's a little bit more than that. Let the Supreme Court figure it out. So looking in the comments, Rome fell with only two parties and we have dumb and dumber to pick from. It's bound to fall too, says Hugh Morris. Damn. So you think because Biden and Trump are the versions of dumb and dumber, America's going to... Anything could happen. Empires do fall. Empires do fall. Hopefully that shit ain't in my lifetime or none of my family's lifetime, but it can happen. It's no doubt. We're constantly in everybody else's business, pissing people off. Eventually, you're going to have a couple of superpowers team up. Look, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. It could happen. It certainly could happen. Looking in the comments. Real quick, continuing the program on, we'll go to Nate Debates. Saw you holding there for a moment. Nate, appreciate you holding there. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Trump saying he can't get a fair trial in New York. What say you, Nate?
Well, I mean, first of all, he's been violating gag orders. I think he's gotten quite a bit of leniency so far because of his stature. I think if you or I, really anyone in this chat, we're out there talking about the judge's daughter, we're talking about prosecutors, witnesses, etc., we would very likely be in jail. So yeah, I think so far.
So you actually believe he's actually getting away with stuff?
I mean, yeah. I think he just got on TV and violated the gag orders multiple times. I find it hard to believe that a regular person wouldn't face repercussions for talking about prosecutors and judges and their family members while they have an active trial.
Yeah. We'll continue on this subject, but I want to pose this to you because this came on YouTube. Nate's Memes, thank you once again for that super chat. Nate has some interesting statements. He said Zelenskyy, talking about the leader of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, is an actor. We are being fleeced. Researching. Do you think Zelenskyy is an actor? Not even real?
You might be referring to, I believe Zelenskyy at some point in his career he was actually
He was a comedian. He was a comedian.
But of course Trump was also an entertainer, so you could say the same thing about him.
Right.
But yeah. When they say we're getting fleeced, I mean, honestly, man, it's really sad. I mean, a lot of these people, they don't know, all of their information about this is just straight up disinformation coming from Moscow.
I mean, fact is, most of the leaders of the West, from England to Biden himself, have met Zelenskyy in person. He's an actor. I mean, they met the man. They walking down the street with him. I don't know where that's coming from.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, people tend to believe it. So, in regards to this New York case against Trump, how about the notion that people were suggesting the only purpose of all of this stuff is to prevent him from running for office and that it's bullshit? with the payment to Stormy Daniels, the hush payment. The whole thing is bullshit. They're just simply trying to stop him from running for office. Do you think there's any validity to that?
So yeah, what I would say is, like, I think if he wasn't in such a public view, there's a chance that he would have been charged on some of these things.
So it is political. There is some politics involved.
Sure. They're definitely. But if they're going to say it's bullshit, it's definitely not. I mean, he definitely. I mean, we'll wait to see how that happens. But I think clearly he did some of these things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what I'll say, like, if you've been committing fraud for decades and you run for president, you can expect that to come out. I mean, that tends to happen. People run for president, things come out of the closet. And I mean, he's given them plenty of ammunition to go after him with.
Yeah, I think that's well said. Certainly, if you run for president, any skeleton is in your closet, somebody's going to find him. I mean, they're going to go look at Obama in effort to prove he was born in a different country. They had folks going to Kenya talking to his family. So yeah, I agree with you. Whereas it might be political, but if you did it, you did it, and people are going to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, with the case going on right now, of course, like, I think I heard you talk to Michael Cohen earlier, like, he went to jail for this already. And I didn't see anyone super upset about that. I mean, like, the fraud thing, I think basically people aren't even arguing that he didn't do it. They're just arguing that it doesn't always get prosecuted.
Yep.
Which, I don't know, I think that's a pretty weak argument. You're basically saying, oh, you know what the problem is that we don't prosecute, like, these, like, wealthy criminals enough, which I agree with. But then you're saying, oh, we shouldn't do it to Trump.
Yeah, it's kind of like going to court, on a speeding ticket and saying everybody speeds. Why didn't you go after him? Or why didn't you? He did 90 to work this morning. Why didn't you? I mean, he's literally snitching on other people. But you're right. He's not saying I didn't do it. He's saying everybody does it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I heard, like, Kevin O'Leary was on the news saying that, but I guess he was basically snitching on himself. And I've heard of, like, a lot of MAGA kind of repeating Kevin O'Leary, like, he's the exact talking points, which is a wild guy to reference because, he was just involved in the FTX scam.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's who you want to.
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why Kevin O'Leary would do that, because you're right. It just simply makes people start thinking, well, shit, let's investigate him too. I mean, if he's on TV saying everybody does it, then it's a good likelihood he did it. I don't know, unless he's like strong MAGA. Like, why would you put yourself out there like that?
Man, I don't know. Yeah, because he was, like, deeply involved in the XTF scam. So you think he has enough on his plate right now?
All right. Well, before moving on, at the end of the day, you think they'll find him guilty for this?
For the criminal, for the hush money thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say probably. I mean, there's always a chance he's able to wheedle his way out. I don't think he'll go to jail. But yeah, we'll see, I guess. Yeah.
So what? He found him guilty and just give him a fine?
Yeah. I think, like, likely he'll be fine. He'll just be fined. I mean, he'll have a felony record, right? Like, he'll lose some privileges probably. But yeah, I don't think they're gonna put him in jail, because, I mean, if he wanted to put him in jail, he already would have, for, like, the gag order thing. I think he's getting a lot of consideration because people know how bad the optics would look of putting a former president in jail, especially one that's running for president.
I mean, well, shit, they done already raided his home and gave him a mugshot. I mean, who cares about optics at this point? He done already broke history many times already.
Listen, I kind of hear what you're saying, but I feel like the mugshot thing, it's so far from him actually being incarcerated. I mean, like, he I think he kind of enjoyed the mugshot thing, right? Because he gets to say, oh, look, I'm relatable to everyone that's ever been abused by the criminal justice system. But I mean, that was really, like, more symbolic than anything.
So,
like,
is there any chance any of these judges, because there will be more, because he got more cases coming, any chance any of these judges will ever seriously hold him in contempt for violating gag orders or the way he had? You think? I know he got a fine, I think, from Judge Ingram, but it's, he could easily pay that. But any real meat on the bone for violating some of these gag orders, you think any of that'll ever happen?
Man, I would say I don't think it will. I mean, I think just the reality is that even if he's not supposed to, in practice, he has privileges as being a former president and a person running for president, and he's pushing the limits on them. But I think he's doing that because he knows he's not likely to be held accountable. And yeah, but
if I can get away with it, why not keep doing it? I hear you. Nate, I do got to move it on though. Pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Appreciate that. Looking in the comments real quick, Nate's memes with the super chat once again. Nate, thank you for all the support. Nate on YouTube, do you deny Zelensky's connections to Soros and Biden? Well, first of all, let me say this let's start off with George Soros. George Soros is literally like the demon child to all Republicans. I don't buy into the notion that anything George Soros touches is evil. No more than the Koch brothers. Anything that they used to touch during the George Bush era was, at the end of the day, he's a huge liberal donor, and there are huge right-wing donors. He's going to donate to causes and principles you don't agree with. I get that, but if Zelenskyy has a connection to George Soros is a businessman. It is what it is. Trump was a very successful businessman. He obviously has connections to Vladimir Putin long before he became president. So why can Trump have connections to Putin, but it's wrong when Soros has connections to Putin's neighbor? So it doesn't matter if he has connections to him or not. Same with you said Soros and Biden having connections to Zelenskyy. Well, as I just stated, Trump has connections to Putin. Nobody's complaining about that. So if Trump can be connected to Putin, why can't Biden be connected with Zelenskyy? I don't see any issue with it. Trump is innocent. Watch and learn, says Snowbird. You know something, the odd thing, Snowbird, in regards to your comment that Trump is innocent, watch and learn, he's not really even pleading innocent. He's pleading that it's a witch hunt. He's pleading that everybody does it and gets away with it. Innocent is not really coming out of his mouth. He said if I didn't run for president, nobody would care that I did this stuff. He's not even saying he's innocent. If he was innocent, he would be eager to get before the courts and prove his innocence. He's delaying everything in hopes of becoming president so that he can play musical chairs with the prosecutors and put in somebody favorable to him. He's entertained pardoning himself out loud that members of his administration is saying that he questioned them about his ability to pardon himself. The words I'm innocent don't seem to be coming out of his mouth. The words seem to be more like I'm being railroaded and charged with crimes that other people get away with. So I don't know about the I'm innocent comment because he's not even pleading innocence. Why wasn't Clinton charged, says Vincent. Why wasn't Hillary Clinton charged? Well, let's be clear. President Trump screamed it from the heavens that Hillary Clinton was guilty of a host of crimes. President Trump became president, putting him as the overseer of the FBI and other organizations that could federally charge Clinton, and he didn't do it. So in regards to your question, why wasn't Clinton charged? Let's start by asking number 45. You're the one that told everybody she was guilty. Why the hell didn't you charge her? You had 4 years to do it. Why didn't you charge her with a crime? You're going from city to city, yelling to the heavens how guilty this woman is. We gave you the job, promising to drain the swamp. You had the job for 4 years and you didn't charge her with a damn thing. That's where your question should go. To the man who had the ability to order his Congress or FBI to open up an investigation and charge her. Didn't happen. Look at it in the comments. Exactly, it's because they don't care. Maga does not care how bad he is. Doesn't matter one bit, says K Dizzle Whizzle. Love the name. The investigation during the election too. Yeah. Trump promised a whole lot of things. Not promised, but allegedly exposed a lot of things. And then did nothing to fix them. Exposed that the election was fixed. He stated coming down the escalator, it's all rigged. then was in office for 4 years, and I can't even think of him suggesting really any legislation to make the election more secure. He didn't really even start talking about it until after he lost in November. So between November 2020 and Biden's inauguration in January, then yeah, he's talking about all kinds of shit. But he was in charge of the country for 4 years. He could have started promoting different laws on a federal level to try to make the election more secure. He didn't do that. He could have used some executive action. He might have got shot down, but he could have tried. I don't see anything that he was doing to fix the election. Trump was suggesting the election was rigged. The moment he won, he didn't give a damn about the election no more until he lost. Now all of a sudden it's rigged again. Looking in the comments, and I'll give you a perfect example of that. For those who believe Trump got railroaded by the system, the election is bullshit and needs to be fair. Before the 2020 election was concluded that November day, Trump was suggesting, because in North Carolina, the votes were getting close. In fact, Biden was leading Trump in that red state for a short period of time. Trump was strongly alleging that there was all sorts of voter fraud taking place in North Carolina. They weren't doing things properly. They were cheating in North Carolina, says Trump. By the time the election was over, Trump had won North Carolina by a small margin. To this day, he has never accused North Carolina of cheating again, has not called for any investigation of North Carolina whatsoever. If Trump was truly in favor of a free and fair election, he would do something about the fraud he alleged took place. You've had 3 years. Why not have the states you won investigated as well? If you lost unfairly, and you were cheated in Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, these other states, you said it was fraud also in North Carolina. Maybe you won by fraud as well. Are you really concerned with making sure the election is fair? Or is your goal just to win? To me, that didn't look right. To have you on television at different rallies saying North Carolina is cheating, win North Carolina and didn't do nothing about it at all. As long as I win, I don't give a damn what happened here. That did not look right. Doesn't look like you're trying to fix the election. It looks like you're just trying to win. By the way, the idea that there was cheating only in the states, swing states that he lost, big ass state like Texas, huge state like Florida, 100% honest. But little Wisconsin or Michigan, they're cheating their asses off there. That doesn't make any sense to me either. What I believe Trump should have done is did a small, quick investigation of all 50 states, took that to the Supreme Court and said, look at all this fraud we've been able to find. We need to do something. This election was not held properly. To me, that makes a lot more sense than only going to the states you lost. Because now it looks like you're just trying to win. You're not trying to fix fraud. As long as you win, you don't give a damn what's happening. And to me, that hurts his credibility when he does that. Going back to the box, though, thank you for tapping the screen. YouTubers certainly smash that like button. By the way, if you enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle, without any concern of the host trying to block, ban, censor, or limit your opinions, you're in the right place. Follow the program to my TikTokers. Subscription on YouTube, if you will, 1 p.m. Monday through Friday is when we do this. I truly believe Illinois cheated in favor of Biden, says Kevin O'Leary. Perhaps, but they admitted they were cheating in favor of Trump in Atlanta, in Arizona, in Michigan. They pled guilty to it. Notice how folks on the right seem to just completely skip over that? I mean, listen, they pled guilty because the government was threatening them. Giving folks the benefit of the doubt who don't plead guilty in court of committing a crime. But the liberals, I think they did something wrong. Ain't none of them pleading guilty, but I'm going to hold them accountable because I think they did something wrong. Meanwhile, these folks don't actually went in the court of law, held their hand up, took an oath, and said, I am guilty. And we're giving them the benefit of the doubt. Tell me how that makes sense. Miss Mo Better, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Appreciate you holding on, Miss Mo Better. Can the man get a fair trial?
Absolutely.
You can.
About as fair as anybody else would get. New York is probably one of the most diverse states in the United States.
Yeah, but it's also as blue as my sweater.
Of America. You have people from...
You're dropping out there. Can you hear me, Ms. Mobetta?
Yes.
You're going in and out. I mean, I hate it because you've been holding on, but you're...
Oh, yeah, it's raining here today in New... I know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but you're really having an issue.
I'll try back.
Yeah. Okay, I'll try to come back.
Yeah,
come right back in. I'll reset it. I'll take a call and come back in. How's living in the Matrix? Step out and wake up, says Snowbird. What is the Matrix? What am I stepping out of to wake up? Laughing my ass off, one of the most leftist states, says Gomez. Yeah, but he's also being tried in Florida, one of the most conservative states. This is what I'm talking about, folks. Don't complain about one thing that works against your beliefs, but be totally okay with it when it works in favor of you. If New York is liberal as hell, Florida is conservative as hell. If you can't get a fair trial in New York, but you're okay with the judge overseeing this case in Florida that he personally appointed, you're not seeking fairness. You're seeking victory. I don't hear anybody on the right complaining that the judge that is overseeing Trump's case with Jack Smith in Florida was a judge he personally appointed. Everybody's totally okay with that, but the New York judge is corrupt as hell. This sounds like you're seeking to win. You're not seeking fairness.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. It's the hypocrisy that turns people off. Yeah. You understand? Because if you on the side of correct, then you'd see like, all right, this is happening here. Like he's gonna get. I believe he can get a fair trial here in New York. Personally, I think he'd get about as fair trial as anybody else would here. And like I was saying before, it's rainy here in New York today, so
the folks in the audience all are saying they cannot hear you. Drop out, and I'll bring you back on. I'll bring you and see if we can recycle it. But apparently, nobody can hear you.
No, I think it's the service here today.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and drop out because when you're talking, the program has total silence because they can't hear you. Okay. Let me try to... Did you drop out? Okay, I think she dropped out. I don't know what happened. And let me try her again, see if it makes any differences. Okay, Ms. Mobetta, you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. I think it'll work this time. Okay, so...
We hope so.
Okay, so continue your point.
Yeah, so again, like I was saying before, here in New York, you have people from all walks of life. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? People from all different countries and, different things that are actual citizens and that can serve as jurors. And like a caller you had earlier was saying, it's up to the people. It's up to the people to say, okay, this evidence was presented. This is what it is, whether it's for or against him. We got to go on what the evidence is telling us. We can't go on our emotions. We can't go on whether we like or dislike this man. It's what the evidence presents. So a lot of times what's happening now with Trump, he's almost making himself out to be guilty. You won't allow anybody to give you a...
Okay, my caller apparently just dropped. I saw that happen right in front of me. I don't know what happened there, but maybe she had a signal issue. You guys know how we run an uncensored program, so there's never going to be anyone taken out because of yours truly, because I do believe in free speech, but she did drop out. In regards to the fair trial in New York, the problem, I think, is that Trump's reputation, credibility is shot in New York. He is not a popular man in New York City. Now, let me just say this for folks who believe he can't get a trial in New York City, which could be. I mean, like I said, he's very unfavorable in that city. There is something to be said in regards to just about everyone who has been in Trump's inner circle don't speak well of him. That's a problem. Whether we're talking about Michael Cohen, his lawyer, we're talking about just about every member of his administration, from Scaramucci down to Ambassador Bolton to Attorney General Barr. The folks who actually have direct access with Trump often walk away with a bad taste in their mouth. Are they all out to get him? Are they all bad people? It is really odd that so many people that have had a very close tie to him walk away unfavorable to him. I mean, to the point where we just, no matter how many people that have had direct access to Trump, including some of his ex-wives too, I think, but everybody that has had direct access to him walk away saying something bad about him. And we instead say that person lacks credibility. No matter how many of them it is, we keep favoring Trump, even though everybody keeps walking away from him with negative stories. There is something to be said about that. I don't know what's going to happen in terms of if he wins this November, but the chance that he will have a new administration and some of them ain't going to get along with him is pretty high. I don't understand that. All of these members that are from the Chris Christie was, a longtime friend of his. Geraldo Rivera was a 30-plus year friend of his. Geraldo Rivera's all over television saying the guy sucks. We know what Chris Christie thinks of him. Obviously, Nikki Haley was an ambassador on his administration. So was Bolton, Barr, Scaramucci, Omarosa, Spicer. Why is that happening over and over again? I mean, these people are not liberals. Mike Pence is another one. Why is that happening? Is that something that we should ignore? That these aren't folks judging him from afar. These are people who routinely walked into his office, had conversations with him, spent time with him, and they continue to have negative opinions of him. All of them. All of them. Are they all on the take? I mean, that's a question that should be asked. And I'm talking from a standpoint of, I would ask this same question, even if it was my damn mom or brother or somebody. Why does everybody who hang around you walk away with a bad taste in their mouth? All of these people are making it up. It is a question to be asked. In the comments, Hogwild says, follow the money. Well, damn it, the person making all the money is Trump. Mike Pence ain't getting rich. Chris Christie didn't make a fortune. Scaramucci didn't make shit. Omarosa definitely didn't make nothing. Trump is making all the money. So when you say follow the money, it comes right back to Trump. He the one making all the money. He the one bragging about being a billionaire 15 times over. None of them are doing that. Looking in the comments. Hey, what about Haley? What does that say? The Barden family is what's making the money. Who is the Barden family? They made money after joining Trump's enemies, says Hot Pants. Yeah, they made money after joining Trump's friends list as well, though. Mike Pence would still be vice president if Trump was reelected. He would make a hell of a lot more money following Trump than being against Trump. Mike Pence put it all on the line on January 6th. He hasn't profited or benefited from that of any significance. He would have definitely did 100 times better listening to Trump, refusing to certify the election. He would have still been favorable to MAGA everywhere. He didn't benefit from that. He didn't make a lot of money doing that. In fact, his life is damn near in danger from that. So I don't believe that they all made a lot of money by doing that. I think they would have done a lot better if they had decided to roll with Trump and say the election was stolen. Many of them would still be in power. So no, they didn't make some of them got a few book deals here and there, but they would have did a lot better letting Trump be president again, because then Mike Pence could have ran in 2028 possibly, or the likes of Chris Christie or some of these other folks that MAGA used to actually highly respect. So following the money don't even take you to where you need to be. Going back to the box, we'll continue on with, I don't know what just went on there, but T. Bizzle, not able to get a fair trial in New York. So what should we do? T. Bizzle, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, handsome.
Hey,
appreciate you having me on.
Good to have you. So can he get a fair trial in New York, or is that an impossibility?
I kind of feel like he can. I mean, they already had a juror on there. I guess she kind of slipped through, and then they found something on her Facebook about, convict him already or something. But I feel like he can probably get a fair trial.
Here's the issue, though. I mean, is there really anybody that don't have their mind made up at least a little bit about whether Trump is an innocent guy or a guilty guy? I mean, I think most of America has an opinion on Trump. Trying to find somebody that doesn't have an opinion on Trump, they would probably have to be about 18, not really follow politics, but anybody that's probably 25 years of age or older has an opinion on Trump.
You're right. I mean, I genuinely think that doesn't matter. I think more people are committed to politics, or at least their opinion now, than it's ever been in my lifetime. I mean, the amount of people that are just engaging, kind of like on your space here, where you, of course, bring up supporters like myself of Trump, let them talk or whatnot. I see that happening a lot more. I actually tried to jump in a space with you this past weekend, or 2 or 3 days ago. I seen where you were on there with a bunch of Republicans or whatnot. And I got a lot of respect for you, just for what you do and how you open people's minds, counter arguments and whatnot, especially in a respectful way. Everything I like, even if I don't agree with you on a lot of things, I still appreciate and respect the hell out of you. Free my man Trump,
You say free my man Trump, he ain't locked up yet.
So with that being said, I think that he can get a free trial or a fair trial. I think that, it's good. I just hope that there is no kind of juror intimidation on either side.
One of them just got excused because part of her identity came out, and she was already, apparently it was a woman, was already saying she started to fear for her life, because if any of these jurors, if their information does come out, they are likely to receive death threats. And in my opinion, it's more than likely going to come from Maga before the case is adjudicated.
And that's right. And I hope that's obviously not going to be the case. That's what I fear, though, in terms of when we talk about a fair trial. And of course, all of that. I want it to be fair. I think that the country needs it to be absolutely fair. It's, it's kind of one of any major court ruling in America where it's very divisive in terms of the nature of the case. I mean, the public needs to see it, and they need to see it with their own eyes, because if they don't, then CNN or Fox or MSNBC's running something, then they're not going to believe that. I mean, they need to see it with their own eyes, hear it with their own ears, and digest it.
Let me ask you this, because you obviously are MAGA, you support Trump, certainly nothing wrong with that. Do you believe, because he's been charged with 88 different crimes in a host of different jurisdictions, do you believe there's a possibility he's guilty of any of this stuff, or do you think it's all a witch hunt?
I would like to see what's replicated or duplicated in terms of the crime, you know what I mean? You go through 2 counties and you're speeding through 2 counties, you get charged by 2 counties. I just want to see what's replicated in terms of the charges go. Is he getting charged by fraud here and then charged by fraud there, and it's the same type of fraud? Or is it, 14 different felonies? Does that make sense?
In other words, they could be piling on, but you didn't say no. You said you want to make sure they're not piling on, overcharging them with the same crime in different ways. But you didn't say, you think he's completely innocent. So you do believe it's a possibility he may be guilty of some of this stuff.
Well, I just want to know how, perhaps.
Yeah.
But, I would like to see it, though. I mean, I can't say whether or not he is guilty, because I don't know, again, if it's the same one charge 86 times,
right,
or 2 charges 45 times. I don't know. I mean, I would like to, I'm interested to see.
That's about the fairest answer you can give. Look, I can't make a decision until I see what they got. I like that answer. That's not biased in either way. But let me ask you this, because this is coming off of YouTube. Demi XY, thank you for the super chat, says, after all I have seen with the last election in Trump's trial thus far, I will not be voting for him a third time. I'm voting for Vivek for sure. What do you think about Vivek? I mean,
I like Ramaswamy. I really do. Matter of fact, although again, I'm a Trump supporter, you know, and matter of fact, I got the same hat behind you, the Hodge twins. I got to sign it and all of that. But
wow.
with that being said, I really do not, and I'm not a huge fan of how much it's dividing my country. Like, that's what I would like to get away from.
Do you see Trump as orchestrating some of this division?
I see people feeling a type of way with Trump that they doesn't matter what he will say, they don't like him or they feel it. I have seen a lot of media twist his words, and then of course people don't get the facts straight, so then they immediately hate him there as well. And once somebody doesn't like you, it's extremely hard to change their mind, regardless if it was true or not true. Yeah. So,
but Mike Pence has an issue with him. So does Chris Christie and members of his administration. Do you think they're making their decisions based on the media?
I think Chris Christie's garbage. That's it doesn't matter what Chris Christie says to me, not to me, but to the public or whatever. I think he's completely bogus. You know.
What about Mike Pence?
Like yourself, I served in the military, the same branch, I believe, as you did, and
No, I didn't. No, I did not serve. I did not serve.
I thought you were Navy. No. Okay, I got you. So I voted for Trump because I was tired of the same political individuals in there. You know, it got passed down from the Bushes to the Clintons, you know. And of course, here comes Hillary, and I'm like, well, there we go. We've already read this book one time before, but, you know, I want somebody from the outside. Trump comes in after watching The Apprentice and all of that, and it was kind of like, I really honestly thought that an outsider could have had a better chance of uniting the country as far as not being a political pawn type deal, but it really kind of went the opposite direction.
Well, I don't know why you would have thought. Let me tell you this. Just let's take Trump out of the picture. Let's just, you know, create a silhouette. We're talking about a person that's not a typical politician, but they are a business person. Nobody likes businessmen. I mean, businessmen is all about, I mean, most of us work for a boss that we think is a piece of shit. A lot of us do. So businessmen are not known to be very favorable. They're pro-money. So I don't know why people thought that he would be loved because he's pro-money. I mean, might be the best guy to run the country, but there's not a lot of love for businessmen.
A lot of people liked him when they, you know, look at Omarosa. She liked him. Yeah. She was on his show. She liked him. Now, of course, he gets in the presidency, and she doesn't like him anymore.
But like, why is that? Why?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out, and I don't know if we'll ever get to the truth about that. I really don't know. It blows my mind because I'm like,
everybody. You know, but isn't that an issue where so many people from your inner circle actually get to interact with you, even to the point where you're giving them jobs, credibility, and promotions, and they walk away not liking you? That doesn't normally happen. Everybody who hung around Bush or Obama or even Biden, they don't walk away hating the guy. Why is that so much only with Trump? Nobody else has fired so many people, had so many people write books about them while they were still in office, while they were still seeking office. This is unique to Trump.
Right. And you know, it's okay. So for instance, I believe in whether it's, I believe it to be fact that Hillary said that Trump should run for presidency one day. I know for a fact Oprah talked to him on her show about him running for presidency. And she didn't seem to dislike him from anything that I had seen, you know. And then of course, like I said, you know, fast forward to where he does run. I don't know what happened in the I guess those.
How could you not? Wait. How could you not know? I'm
talking about why they turned against him as far as that goes.
And I'm about to answer that. When Trump was telling Oprah he was going to run, and when you mentioned about Hillary Clinton, look at his politics back in the 80s and 90s compared to 2024. He completely changed. That's why they don't like him. He's saying things that are completely opposite of what he was saying to them back then.
Snoop Dogg flipping on him?
Huh?
Was Snoop Dogg flipping on him? Snoop didn't like him, and then now Snoop went back. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Snoop Dogg flipped, and so did I can't think of the other guy, Michael something, that really was thinking negatively of him. A couple people have flipped and seem to be more favorable of Trump, but the fact is, when people ask, well, why did all these people like him, and now they suddenly don't like him? Trump's politics from the 80s to 90s is 180 degrees different than what they are today. If I'm going around suggesting that Trump is the victim of a witch hunt, the Second Amendment shall not be infringed upon, and then tomorrow I'm saying everything in reverse, all of my supporters today are not going to like me tomorrow. He completely changed his politics.
Yeah, I think that the world really changed as well. And, he did go in fighting. He went in and started basically blindly swinging, saying he's going to drain the swamp. I would assume that would probably not garner too much favoritism from the lifelong politicians like Nancy Pelosi or, Schumer's or Mitch McConnell's, our government's filled with people that have pretty much just overstayed their welcome.
I don't disagree with some of that, but I wonder from a presidential standpoint how that makes sense. To me, it's kind of like, let's say, for instance, you go talk to the local police lieutenant and you say, make me a sergeant on your department and I'll help you drain the swamp of all your bad cops. I'll name names and help you get rid of all of them. And you're on TV saying this out in public. If that lieutenant makes you sergeant and hires you, you think the cops in that department are going to work with you? When you don't say all this negative stuff about them, you go out and need to call in for backup. Nobody may show up. Trump needs, as president, you need the Senate and Congress to help you with your legislation. All of the people you don't say all of this shit about how they're the swamp and how they need to lose their jobs. And then when you become president, you're wondering why they never gave you a chance since day one. When you promised everybody they were all scum. How does that work?
And I'm pretty sure you've heard this on your show before, because I do try to catch you on a regular basis, but his mouth just writes some damn checks that his ass can't cash. And I will say this as a Trump supporter, and I've said this during his presidency, as a matter of fact, in my living room to my wife, I said, man, his mouth really makes it difficult to stick up for him, and I mean, that's just fact. We go into these rooms sometimes and debate, and I like to be factual, but I can't get away from the side that the dude just kind of has diarrhea of the mouth a lot of the times.
Well,
just scale it back,
Yeah. Because how many liberals are bitching about 3.5% unemployment rate that we had under Trump, which was great? How many liberals are bitching about $2 gas or no military conflicts? It's the mouth. But unfortunately, Maga, every time he has a mouth, nervous Nancy, crazy Bernie, little Marco, Lion Ted Cruz, Bird Brain, Nikki Haley, Sleepy Joe, they're all applauding that. They're all clapping and going yay, and they're repeating it. It's the mouth. And unfortunately, Trump supporters don't seem to have an issue with that, which is what has created the amount of division we have today. But I do got to move it on, T.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Mr. Handsome. I appreciate you.
Anytime. Thank you.
Keep doing good work. Thanks, sir.
Appreciate the accolade. Thank you very much. Lefts, what does it say? Lefts can't handle the truth, says Snowbird. Well, the names the insults he levied at Mike Pence. Mike Pence is not a liberal. Chris Christie's not a liberal. Nikki Haley's not a liberal. They only became even a consideration for liberals when they didn't side with Trump. All of a sudden, anyone that does not toe the Trump line is either a rhino or a liberal. I don't buy into that. You should be, whether you're on the left or the right, you should have the ability to criticize the leader of your party without being kicked out of the entire damn organization. I've never been a fan of that. I don't have a problem with liberals that criticize Biden or Obama. You don't call that person a phony Democrat because they didn't speak. There's a lot of black people that believe Obama didn't do enough for blacks or didn't do shit for Chicago. I don't walk around calling them fake Democrats. You should have. What happened to the damn First Amendment, free speech? All of a sudden you exercise your First Amendment free speech rights and they kick you out of the whole damn party? Where the hell did that start from? So any of my Constitution-loving viewers, get off of that. That's the whole purpose of the program here. Free speech. You don't get kicked out of your damn party because you got an opposing opinion. That is some new shit that needs to go away if you support the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. I can't believe that. The moment you have an issue, Mike Pence was a respected Republican on January 5th. So was Liz Cheney, respected Republican on January 5th. One day, just one damn day, and now they're all of a sudden rhinos and liberals. Everything they did for their entire life up to January 5th is gone in a single poof. How does that make sense? How the hell is that acceptable from anyone, left or right? That needs to stop. Looking in the comments, all of the woes you're spewing, are you still voting for Trump? I lean left, Aaron. You're new to the program. Perhaps you haven't seen the name of the program. Feel free to check into that. A person that do a lot of name calling is immature. That's Trump. I'm not going to judge it, but I don't favor it. I don't think it does the country any good. And let's be clear, there are folks who have insulted Trump. He's not the only one lobbing insults. A lot of insults go his way as well. I just do not believe as president, you should answer the call to every fight you're invited to. You ever have a little sibling, maybe your younger sister, your younger brother, or your parents go, well, you're the oldest one. You should have known better. That's where I believe the president should fall. Once Trump came onto the picture, the standard for being a president dropped. Even if someone like Rosie O'Donnell or some liberal high school student attacks the president, all of a sudden now it's okay for him to go back after the high school student. That didn't used to be. That would have been allocated to the likes of Sean Hannity, maybe the late Rush Limbaugh. Let them do that. This shit shouldn't come out of the Oval Office. That standard changed significantly under Trump, and I don't know if we can get that one back in, but I don't believe that the insult should come from the very top if we want and if we are seeking division. The country's not going to unite bottom up. It has to come from the top. And if the guy at the top is taking on 100 people at once, doing his best imitation of a Bruce Lee movie, you're never going to get unity. You're never going to get it. And there's unfortunately too many people that favor him taking on 100 people at once. It is what it is. Nevertheless, you guys know what this is. I love this perspective from you. Thank you, Pretty Preppy. Appreciate you coming. You love companies poisoning your food. Everybody in America loves companies poisoning their food. Why do you think the obesity rates in this country are so damn high? Kids catching cancer. I mean, everybody's eating poison shit, unless you got a fortune in terms of a budget. It's everywhere. There are countries in Europe that don't even allow our ingredients in their food. So you say we love, that's the American way. We're all about profit here. So people do things to make profit that might actually be at the expense of your health. Well said, though, but that's kind of the American way. Everybody's eating poison foods to some degree or another. Did you see that guy wearing a Biden shirt? No, me neither, says Gomez. Yeah. And that's crazy that there is not a lot of love for Biden, yet he may actually win over Trump. I've stated this numerous times. I believe the biggest thing going for President Biden is that his adversary is Trump, because there is this huge anti-Trump vote. What do I always say? In the last election, 2020, there were 3 spots on the ballot. You could vote for Trump, you could vote for Biden, or there was an invisible spot that would have read, I'm no fan of Biden, but I damn sure don't want Trump to win again. That particular spot that did not exist in reality, if it did, would have gotten tens of millions of votes. But because that spot doesn't exist, they went to Biden. People aren't voting for Biden. They're voting against Trump. So when folks ask the question, how the hell could Biden get more votes than Obama from in his basement? He didn't get them. It's the anti-Trump vote. Trump is running in 2024 against Trump. He's not running against Biden. He's running against Trump. You're either voting for him or voting against him. By default, the other dude gets those votes. But nobody's voting for Biden. They're voting against Trump. So we'll see how it goes in a round of about 7 months. Until then, folks, I do appreciate the 150,000 likes. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. is where you'll find us here. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. So if you do favor that, follow the program on TikTok, certainly on YouTube, a subscription, if you will. It's your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal. Catch you tomorrow. And to my YouTubers, thank you for the support as well. You want to show unregistered. Philip, I don't quite get that. Trump tried to stop millions of American citizens' votes from being counted. My observation is that is true. That does seem to be true. Biden did not get 81 million votes. That has already been proven from existing recounts in ballot fraud. Whatever the amount of votes Biden got, they are anti-Trump votes. 81 million, 79 million, whatever you want to call it, they are anti-Trump votes. The overwhelming majority of those are anti-Trump votes. When you look at the numbers of the Democratic Party, in terms of favorability for Biden and dislike for Trump, it shows that they don't really love Biden at all, but they really hate Trump. Not to mention, Biden's going to get a lot of votes that absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, you know they're not for Biden, such as, you think the McCain family likes Biden? You think the Mitt Romney family, the Bushes, want Biden back in office? No, they hate Trump. So they're still likely to vote for Biden. Liz Cheney ain't going to go on TV wearing a Biden shirt, but that's probably who she's voting for. John McCain's family, just about all of the damn Bushes, Jeb, George W., they're not going to be on TV wearing a Biden shirt, but I bet you they vote for him. Guaranteed they ain't voting for Trump. So that's why Biden will get a lot of votes, but you won't see Biden flags and stickers all over the damn place because a lot of them are conservative. I don't think Nikki Haley's going to vote for Trump either. Chris Christie's not going to vote for him. Mike Pence has made it clear he ain't going to vote for him. Most of his own administration is not going to vote for him. They will not be seen in Biden shirts. But it's a good chance they all could be Biden voters. So that is why Biden seems to be doing that. It's your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal. I will catch you guys tomorrow.